Chapter 641. Compared with Qin Haodong, Mei Zhanlong's momentum was much greater. He had booked a huge luxury yacht and brought hundreds of disciples and servants with him. He was dressed in a cyan robe, with long hair fluttering in the wind, and a long sword on his back. He looked like an immortal, and had the demeanor of a master. After the boat docked, Mei Zhanlong walked toward the center of Divine Dragon Island. His disciples spread out around the island and drove away all the people who were ready to go to the island to watch. Today's battle was not allowed to be watched. Only a few people were sitting on yachts around the island, holding binoculars in their hands and watching from afar. After all, Mei Zhanlong had not fought for a long time, and many people wanted to see his elegant demeanor. Mei Zhanlong walked calmly to the center of the island. When he saw Qin Haodong waiting there, he sneered and said, "Boy, I didn't expect you to really dare to come." He kept looking at Qin Haodong with his eyes. He could not see through the young man's cultivation, and he could not feel any dangerous aura. The more he looked at Qin Haodong, the more uneasy he felt. Qin Haodong smiled and said, "I have an appointment with an old faker like you. Why wouldn't I dare to come?" "Qin Haodong, how dare you kill my 2 disciples? Today, I'll make you pay with your life," Mei Zhanlong said with a murderous look. "Are you ready? If you are, I'm going to make a move. Come on, let me see how capable an old faker like you is." Qin Haodong waved his hand and asked Feng Wu and Nalan Wushuang to step aside. "I'm going to make a move," Mei Zhanlong said arrogantly, but in fact he was very careful. He did not mean to let Qin Haodong make the first move. Instead, he made the first move. He stretched out his hands and suddenly a monstrous evil spirit swept out of his sleeves like a long dragon, rolling up and down. Finally, the 2 evil spirits merged together and cut toward Qin Haodong like a huge pair of scissors. An expert could be seen as soon as he made his move. After Mei Zhanlong made his move, Feng Wu and Nalan Wushuang's expressions changed a little. It seemed that the title of the #1 Taoist in Hong Kong was not undeserved. This old guy did have some real skills. Qin Haodong still had a smile on his face. Although Mei Zhanlong was much stronger than his 2 disciples, he still could not pose any threat to him. Seeing the 2 murderous dragons sweeping over, he stretched out his hand, and the Xian Yuan sword appeared in his palm. Then a golden light slashed out. "No matter how powerful your spells are, I'll cut them down with my sword." The Xian Yuan sword came out, and the sharp sword qi collided with the evil qi. In an instant, the long dragon of evil qi disappeared, and the remaining power did not decrease. It slashed in the direction of Mei Zhanlong. Mei Zhanlong's expression changed greatly. He didn't expect Qin Haodong's sword qi to be so powerful. He quickly made a seal with his hands, and his fingers trembled like flowers. Then a huge Tai Chi diagram appeared in front of him and blocked the sword qi. "Kid, you do have some ability." Mei Zhanlong's expression became extremely serious. Qin Haodong held the Xian Yuan sword in his hand and said, "Old faker, if that's all you've got, you'll have to meet your disciple." He was not in a hurry to make his move. He wanted to see what the most powerful Dharma caster in Hong Kong was capable of. "Kid, since I dared to challenge you, I'm sure that I can kill you," Mei Zhanlong said as he took out a red banner from his arms. The banner was so red that it seemed to be dripping blood. The black scriptures on it were constantly moving, which looked extremely strange. He made a gesture, then raised his hand and shook it. The banner immediately became bigger, and then disappeared in the air. Within a radius of 100 meters from the center of Divine Dragon Island, the sky suddenly darkened, as if night had fallen. Then, countless ghosts emerged from the darkness and let out soul-stirring screams. As soon as the spell was completed, Mei Zhanlong sneered and said, "Kid, let's see what's the use of your swordsmanship in front of my ghost domain." Ghosts were invisible and intangible, and the substantial sword qi could not cause any harm to them at all. Moreover, his magic weapon was specially refined. Under the protection of the banner, those ghosts were not afraid of sunlight at all, so he chose to fight in the morning. Around Divine Dragon Island, the people on the yachts were watching with great interest. Suddenly, the top of the mountain turned black, and they could not see anything. Master Mei is really a master. He's so powerful. What a powerful magic. It's over. That kid surnamed Qin is finished. Just now, I saw that his swordsmanship seemed to be very powerful. I thought that he could compete with Master Mei. Master Mei is really the best in Dharma caster. He deserves his reputation. People praised Mei Zhanlong's power, but they were also very regretful in their hearts. Under such circumstances, they could not see Qin Haodong being defeated. Feeling the endless ghosts around him, Qin Haodong's expression became colder and colder. Like disciple like master, Mei Zhanlong and his disciple used ghosts to refine magic weapons. These dead ghosts were trapped in this banner and could not enter reincarnation. They could not see the sun for the rest of their lives, which was completely against the way of heaven. Facing the fierce ghosts coming at him, he took out the yin-yang mirror and shouted, "Come in!" The yin-yang mirror was a great divine weapon that could communicate with the yin and yang realms. Under the powerful suction, these ghosts immediately got rid of the control of the banner and rushed to the yin-yang mirror, like birds returning to their nests. They instantly escaped into reincarnation. Mei Zhanlong stood aside and was waiting to hear the screams of Qin Haodong being bitten by hundreds of ghosts. However, he did not expect that in the blink of an eye, his ghost domain would be completely broken. The banner fell to the ground with a plop, and there was no ghost in it. You actually broke my magic weapon?" Mei Zhanlong was so distressed that his eyes were full of anger. If his eyes could kill, Qin Haodong would have died thousands of times. You and your disciple use ghosts to refine magic weapons. It's against the way of heaven. What's the use of keeping this thing? As Qin Haodong spoke, a golden light flashed in his hand, and the Xian Yuan sword directly cut the banner into 2 pieces. There was no possibility of using it in the future. "Boy, you're courting death," Mei Zhanlong shouted angrily. "Do you know why I chose this place for the decisive battle? Today, I'll let you die with no regrets under the heavenly water skill that I've recently comprehended." After saying that, his hair and beard fluttered, and his Taoist robe swelled up. His 2 hands were like arranging flowers, forming one magic art after another. The originally somewhat gloomy sky began to surge, forming dark clouds within 100 meters above their heads, and then it began to drizzle. "Qin, now I'll show you the power of my heavenly water skill." As soon as Mei Zhanlong waved his hand, the rain in the air immediately turned into extremely sharp water blades and attacked Qin Haodong. Countless water lines were like countless knife lights crisscrossing, full of murderous intent. "Your Taoist skills are good, but it's a pity that your cultivation is too weak." Qin Haodong sneered and formed an air shield around his body with his genuine qi. The water blades slid down after colliding with the air shield, and finally turned into rain on the ground. Seeing that the water blades were in vain, Mei Zhanlong raised his hands and waved his palms. The rain in the air condensed together, and finally turned into a water dragon that was more than 10 feet long. The water dragon bared its fangs and brandished its claws with great power. It opened its mouth and pounced on Qin Haodong. Slash! Qin Haodong shouted, and his body rose into the air. The Xian Yuan sword in his hand suddenly slashed at the water dragon with a golden light that was more than 10 feet long. Although the water dragon was fierce, it was still formed by water vapor. It was cut in half by the Xian Yuan sword, and then turned into a pool of rain and fell down. This time, Qin Haodong did not hold back. A sharp sword qi directly pierced into Mei Zhanlong's left shoulder, leaving a deep wound. The people on the yacht were originally watching with great interest, and they all cheered for Mei Zhanlong's Taoist skills. However, they did not expect that Mei Zhanlong would be the one who was injured in the end. Mei Zhanlong glanced at the wound on his shoulder and shouted to the woods next to him. "Songgang, I'm injured. Why don't you come out? Lao Mei, I haven't seen you for a few years. You're really getting worse and worse. You can't even defeat such a young man. You even need me to help you." While speaking, a fat monk came out of the bushes. It was Songgang, the great witch master. Nalan Wushuang shouted to Mei Zhanlong, "You're the best in magic in Hong Kong. It's a duel between the 2 of you. How can you find a helper?" Mei Zhanlong sneered and said, "Since ancient times, the winner is the king and the loser is the thief. It doesn't matter what means I use. Anyway, all of you will die today." Qin Haodong did not care too much. He glanced at the monk and asked, "Who are you?" Songgang said, My disciple is Sarah Banta. Oh, I see. It seems that you are also here to take revenge on me. It's good that you know. Boy, I'll let you taste the power of my white bone formation. It turned out that after Qin Haodong left that day, it was Song Gang who came to the Divine Dragon Island. He had made sufficient preparations here and added a white bone formation. After that, Song Gang's fat body shook slightly and countless red beetles rushed out of his body. The strange thing was that these insects did not pounce on Qin Haodong. Instead, they all drilled into the ground. Qin Haodong had seen magic to control snakes and insects before. It was not rare in the cultivation world. The Miaojiang voodoo on earth was also one of such magic. However, he had never seen insects like Song Gang who did not attack people. At this moment, the ground around the island loosened and dry claws stretched out from the ground. Then, skeletons broke out of the ground and rushed at Qin Haodong crazily. At the same time, the whole Divine Dragon Island was covered with a gloomy wind and thick fog. The people on the yacht outside could not see anything and began to curse. The nearest skeleton warrior had rushed to Qin Haodong's side. He shook the Xian Yuan sword in his hand slightly, and the skeleton was cut into several pieces and scattered on the ground. Then a red beetle flew out and drilled into the ground again. Soon after the beetle went into the ground, another skeleton drilled out of the ground. It turned out that these insects were the source of skeleton warriors. As long as the insects did not die, there would be endless skeletons. Chapter 642. The battle had become a life-and-death battle. Not only did these skeletons attack Qin Haodong, but they also surrounded Nailan Wushuang and Feng Wu, and attacked them crazily. Fortunately, although there were many skeletons, their combat power was not strong. The two of them waved the swords in their hands, and soon scattered the skeletons and joined Qin Haodong. Haodong, what should we do? Seeing more and more skeletons around, Nailan Wushuang was a little nervous. She was originally the eldest daughter of the Nailan family, but now she had to fight with these gloomy and terrifying monsters. She was still not used to it. Feng Wu was much calmer. She said, "Find a chance to kill that monk and this formation will be broken." When they looked around, they found that the fog in the formation was getting thicker and thicker. They could only see through more than 10 meters, and they had lost sight of Mei Zhanlong and Song Gang. At this moment, talismans flew into the air. These talismans did not burn or explode. It seemed that they had no other function. They just floated in the air. Just when they were puzzled, a skeleton warrior suddenly jumped on the talisman, and then attacked the three of them from the air. What the F***ck? How can they do this? Qin Haodong sent a skeleton warrior flying in the air with his sword. He knew that Mei Zhanlong must be cooperating with Song Gang. This time, the pressure on the three of them suddenly increased a lot. These skeletons really reached an overwhelming level, and the sky and the ground were full of skeleton warriors. These guys waved bone knives and bone swords in their hands. Some even directly picked up the leg bones and skulls of their companions and attacked them. These guys were like locusts. Every time one was killed, the beetles inside would drill into the ground again. Soon, a new skeleton warrior would come in. Nailan Wushuang waved the beauty thorn in her hand to resist the overwhelming skeleton warriors and said, "Haodong, why don't we rush out? As long as we leave Divine Dragon Island, there will definitely be no skeletons. Otherwise, we will be exhausted to death sooner or later." Qin Haodong said, "Don't worry. Let's wait and see." He had an intuition that this white bone formation did not seem to be simple. It was very likely that Song Gang had other tricks. Outside the formation, Mei Zhanlong said to Song Gang, "Old man, these ants are not enough. They can't be killed at all. Hurry up and release your treasures." At this time, Song Gang was much thinner than before. He chuckled and said, "Don't worry, it's more interesting to play slowly." As he spoke, his body shook again, and a dozen golden beetles flew out and burrowed into the ground. After a while, the ground of Divine Dragon Island trembled, and then more than a dozen beast skeletons drilled out. These wild beast skeletons included lions, tigers, elephants, and a few rhinoceroses. Not only were their skeletons much larger than the skeleton warriors, but their bodies were also faintly emitting a golden halo. They were faster and had stronger combat strength. With the addition of these beast skeletons, the pressure on Qin Haodong and the other two suddenly increased. Outside the formation, Song Gang had a smug look on his face. Old friend, you see? I didn't prepare for nothing these past 3 days. Once they fall into my great bone formation, even if these little things don't die, they will be exhausted to death. But as soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly saw the golden light in the formation, followed by a faint sound of Sanskrit. He was shocked and looked at the white bone formation. He saw that Qin Haodong was holding the devil vanquishing wand in his hand. The wand was emitting wisps of Buddha's light. Whether it was the beast skeletons or the skeleton warriors, as long as they were swept by the Buddha's light, they would immediately be purified into nothingness. Although there were many skeleton warriors, as long as they were swept by the Buddha's light, they would disappear. Even the beetles inside would not be spared. In the blink of an eye, under the illumination of the devil-vanquishing wand, there were no more white bones in the great bone formation. The dense fog around them also slowly dissipated. Song Gang and Mei Zhanlong, whose faces were livid, appeared in front of them again. Qin Haodong put away the devil-vanquishing wand, looked at Song Gang and said jokingly, "Monk, you lose weight very quickly. What other means do you have?" Song Gang glared at him fiercely and shouted to the woods behind him, "Have you old things seen enough? If you have, come out. You two old things, after hiding your identities for so many years, it seems that your abilities have shrunk. You can't even deal with these little guys." While they were talking, 4 figures flashed out of the woods. The 4 of them were all experts at the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm. After seeing them, Feng Wu's expression suddenly changed. "For great kings of the Devil Gate, why are you here?" Qin Haodong had heard from Feng Wu that there were 8 great elders and 4 great kings of the Devil Gate. He did not expect that they would appear on this small island together. Mei Zhanlong took 2 steps forward and said with a sneer, "Boy, you're still far inferior to me in terms of scheming. Do you know why I set the appointment 7 days later? It's to wait for the 4 heavenly kings of the Devil Gate." Qin Haodong glanced at him and said, "So you are also a member of the Devil Gate?" Mei Zhanlong laughed, turned to look at Song Gang and said, "We have hidden our identities for so many years. It's time to show our true strength." After that, his aura suddenly rose. He was also a 9th level Supreme Power Realm expert. Next to him, Song Gang's body immediately changed. He suddenly grew more than 10 centimeters taller and reached about 180 meters. His body exuded a powerful aura. He was also a 9th level Supreme Power Realm expert. Feng Wu's expression changed again. "Yi Feng, the 1,000-armed man, and Zhang Xiao, the 100-face evil king, are you? No wonder there has been no news of you for so many years. It turns out that you have been hiding here." Qin Haodong said, "Why? Are these 2 guys very famous?" He was also a little surprised. It seemed that the Devil Gate did have some unique methods. These 2 old guys had sealed their cultivation, but their primordial spirits could not detect it. Feng Wu said with a serious expression, "Song Gang's real name is Yi Feng, nicknamed the 1,000-armed man. Mei Zhanlong's real name is Zhang Xiao, nicknamed the 100-face evil king. They are 2 of the 8 great elders of the Devil Gate, ranked 3rd and 5th respectively. The 8 great elders of the Devil Gate and the 4 guardian kings were all 9th level Supreme Power Realm experts. Today, 6 of them had appeared on the Divine Dragon Island, which was far beyond her expectation. Although Qin Haodong and the other 2 had also reached the 9th level Supreme Power Realm, they had no chance of winning if they fought 1 against 2. The 100-face evil king said proudly, "Qin boy, you didn't expect this, did you? Last time you injured 3 of our Devil Gate's masters. Do you think it's over? I got the news as soon as you came to Hong Kong. I was thinking about how to lure you into the trap. I didn't expect that you would take the initiative to kill my 2 useless disciples. I just happened to beat you at your own game and tricked you to come to the Divine Dragon Island." The 1,000-armed man also said proudly, "Magic and tame head are all used for fun when we have nothing to do. This is our real strength. Even if you little guys have some cultivation, you can't defeat the 6 of us in any case." The 100-face evil king said to Qin Haodong, "Boy, your mirror is good. I want it." The 1,000-armed man said, "I like the sword in your hand. Give it to me obediently." and I can leave your body intact. The hundred-faced evil king's eyes drifted over Nalan Wushuang and Feng Wu. He said with a lewd smile, I heard that we can't touch the women of the Zihong sword house. But this girl is good. We can have fun together. I haven't met such a good woman for a long time. The thousand-armed man said, I want the boy surnamed Qin. Don't damage his body when we fight. I just happen to be refining a corpse puppet. With his cultivation, the corpse puppet must be of the best quality. Do you think you will win? Qin Haodong looked at the two of them and said, Have you ever heard of the saying, those who show off will be struck by lightning? As he spoke, he made an incantation with his hand. The wind and clouds above the divine dragon island suddenly changed and dark clouds rolled. The momentum was much greater than that of the hundred-faced evil king just now. The entire area within a kilometer was covered. The nine heavens divine thunder formation was officially activated. Boy, do you still want to? The hundred-faced evil king was about to say a few more words. But before he finished speaking, a bolt of lightning suddenly struck down from midair and hit him hard on the head. Suddenly, the hundred-faced evil king's long hair all stood up, just like the legendary Lei Zhenzi. His face was charred black, the robe on his body was in tatters, and the mouth that was speaking could no longer make any sound, but instead emitted a black smoke. At the same time, another bolt of lightning struck down and hit the head of the thousand-armed man next to him. This guy was originally bald, and there was no hair on his head. After being struck by lightning, there was a faint smell of burnt meat. Qin Haodong looked at the two of them and couldn't help laughing. How is it? It tastes good, doesn't it? I told you not to show off, or you will be struck by lightning. At this time, the White Tiger King of the Four Heavenly Kings shouted, This boy is very strange. Kill him quickly, or we can't fight against this formation. After saying that, he jumped up and drew a long saber in his hand. The saber light filled the sky, and he slashed at Qin Haodong with a fierce murderous intent. As a ninth-level Supreme Power Master, his saber technique was indeed unique. The saber light was so cold that it seemed to tear the air apart. But at this moment, a bolt of lightning flashed along his long saber and fiercely struck the White Tiger King's head. With a plop, the White Tiger King, who was in midair, suddenly lost his ability to move and fell to the ground like a puppet. This formation is too powerful. Run! The Vermilion Bird King said as he grabbed the White Tiger King's belt and rushed out of the island with him in a stream of light. The White Tiger King's body movement was extremely fast. As he ran, he dodged the lightning in midair and successfully escaped. Chapter 643. On the other side, Azure Dragon King and Black Tortoise King also took action. They grabbed Thousand-Armed Man and Hundred-Face respectively and fled out of the Nine Heavens Thunder formation. Qin Haodong was controlling the formation and couldn't be distracted. Nalan Wushuang and Feng Wu did take action. The beauty thorn in Nalan Wushuang's hand turned into a stream of light and stabbed at Azure Dragon King. At this time, Azure Dragon did not dare to fight anymore. He slipped to the side and fled forward again. He dodged the sword, but Thousand-Armed Man in his hand failed to dodge. Nalan Wushuang's beauty thorn pierced through his right chest with blood. On the other side, Feng Wu also slashed at Black Tortoise King with her Leimu sword. Black Tortoise King was carrying a man and had to avoid the thunder and lightning all over the sky, so he couldn't compete with Feng Wu at all. In a panic, Hundred Face lost one of his arms. Anyway, these people were saved. After escaping from the Nine Heavens Thunder formation, they quickly ran to the seaside. The onlookers on the shore saw that the Divine Dragon Island was once again covered with dark clouds and thunder. They were worried that they couldn't see what was going on inside. Suddenly, they saw several figures running out. A young rich man was standing on a yacht and looking at the middle of the island. Vermilion Bird King grabbed White Tiger King and jumped onto his yacht, kicking him off. Then he drove the yacht and fled into the distance with several people behind him. Damn it, who are you? How dare you steal my yacht? I'm not done with you. The young man was almost kicked to death by Vermilion Bird King. He choked a few mouthfuls of water in the sea and was rescued. Then he cursed loudly. The people on the yacht nearby all gathered around and began to talk about it. I saw Master Mei Zhanlong among those people. One of his shoulders is bleeding and he lost an arm. Did I see it wrong? Did Master Mei run away? Did Great Master Mei lose? Great Master Mei has really been defeated. I'm finished this time. I've bet all my wealth on him. Some people still had a glimmer of hope. Don't worry. Although Master Mei ran away, Qin Haodong might be dead. In that case, Master Mei will still win. But at this moment, the wind and clouds on the Divine Dragon Island dispersed, the thunder stopped, and everything returned to peace. Qin Haodong walked to the shore with Nalan Wushuang and Feng Wu. Qin Haodong ignored many surprised eyes and took them to the yacht. Then they drove toward the shore. After getting on the boat, Nalan Wushuang said, "The Devil Gate is really everywhere. I didn't expect Mei Zhanlong to be a hidden elder of the Devil Gate. He even set such a big trap for us." Feng Wu said, "They suffered such a big loss last time. I thought they would be quiet for a while. But I didn't expect that the Devil Gate's behavior could not be judged by common sense. They actually sent 6 elders at the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm at once." Nalan Wushuang said. "Fortunately, Haodong made preparations in advance. Otherwise we would have suffered a big loss today." While they were talking, they had already approached the shore. In the distance, Li Meiyu was standing on the dock and looking in this direction. Her face was full of worry. When she saw Qin Haodong's yacht, her expression immediately became lively. After Qin Haodong went ashore, she no longer cared about being a girl, and threw herself into Qin Haodong's arms. There were 2 lines of tears on her happy face. She murmured, "That's great. Haodong, it's great that you're fine." Qin Haodong patted her on the back and said, "Well, let's go back and talk about it." After getting in the car, they returned to the Li family's villa together. At the same time, the whole Hong Kong was in an uproar. The news that Qin Haodong had defeated Master Mei Zhanlong spread to every corner. At first, some people did not believe it, but then someone went to the Divine Dragon Island and found one of Master Mei Zhanlong's arms on the island. Since then, no one had any doubts. Moreover, after this battle, Mei Zhanlong completely disappeared, and there was no news about him. His disciples also scattered when the tree fell. Master Mei Zhanlong, who was known as the #1 magic caster in Hong Kong, fell from the altar. Mei Zhanlong was defeated. The gamblers who had bet a lot of money on him were the most angry. Some of them even bet all their money and lost everything. Some were happy and some were sad. The gamblers who had bet on Qin Haodong were all happy. Qin Haodong had won, and they had all made a lot of money. Anyway, from this moment on, the reputation of the medical sage had spread throughout Hong Kong. Qin Haodong defeated Mei Zhanlong, and the Li family was the happiest. Not only did they get rid of a big trouble, but they also made a lot of money. Li Donghua originally wanted to hold a grand celebration banquet, but Qin Haodong refused. He said, "Sir, the matter here is over. I've been in Hong Kong for a while, so there's no need to celebrate. I want to return to Huaxia immediately." Li Donghua said, "It's not easy for you to come to Hong Kong. You should have a good time. Why are you in such a hurry to go back?" Qin Haodong said, "There's no need. I still have a lot of things to do in Huaxia." Li Meiyu said with some hidden bitterness, "Are you really leaving?" Qin Haodong said, "All good things must come to an end. You can go to Huaxia to find me when you have time." Li Meiyu sighed and said, "Okay, but can we leave tomorrow? Do me a favor tonight." Qin Haodong thought for a moment, nodded and said, "Well, we'll leave tomorrow." After resting for an afternoon, Qin Haodong got into Li Meiyu's limousine at 8 o'clock in the evening. After getting in the car, the driver started the car, and they sat in the compartment. Qin Haodong said, "Where are you taking me?" "To a banquet." There was a faint trace of worry between Li Meiyu's eyebrows. Qin Haodong said, "You said you want me to help you. Is it to attend a banquet?" Li Meiyu said with a wry smile, "This banquet is very unusual. It's not an exaggeration to say that it's a hungmen banquet. I really can't think of anyone else who can help me except you." Qin Haodong's face turned cold and he asked, "What the hell is going on?" "It's a long story. Let me tell you slowly." Li Meiyu said, "Where there are businessmen, there are chambers of commerce. In Hong Kong, the largest business department is the Hong Kong Business Association. which controls nearly 90% of the business resources in Hong Kong. Before my family's accident, my grandfather was the president of the Hong Kong Business Association. Later, my grandfather had an accident and was in a coma. During this time, the vice president, Gong Tianmiao, took the opportunity to become the president of the association. Gong Tianmiao has always been plotting against our Li family. After I took over the Li family, he took advantage of my young age and took 3 of our businesses in succession. Moreover, he began to accumulate our stocks in the stock market. In this duel between you and Mei Zhanlong, our Li family bet all our money on you and made a lot of money. If it weren't for this, it would have been really difficult for us to get through this crisis. Qin Haodong did not speak and listened quietly. Li Meiyu continued. In the past few days, Gong Tianmiao has sent people to our house to propose marriage. He wants me to marry his son Gong Tingfei. Gong Tingfei is a playboy with all kinds of poison. Gong Tianmiao has no good intentions when he proposes marriage. His ultimate goal is to encroach on our Li family's assets through marriage. Qin Haodong said. In that case, you can just refuse directly. Do they dare to rob you? Besides, Zhang Tinyu and the others are by your side. They can't rob you even if they want to. Li Meiyu said. It's impossible to rob me by force. After all, Hong Kong is a legal society. But Gong Tianmiao has always been a schemer. I think today's banquet must have something to do with this matter. Maybe it's his plot. Looking at Li Meiyu's worried face, Qin Haodong felt a burst of pity in his heart. It was really difficult for such a young girl to take charge of such a big family business. He said, Don't worry. I'll help you solve the problem of the Gong family before I leave. Haodong, thank you. Looking at Qin Haodong's handsome face, Li Meiyu's eyes were full of love and gratitude. Qin Haodong said, What are you thanking me for? I'm your bodyguard, aren't I? Li Meiyu said with a complicated expression. I want you to be my bodyguard for the rest of your life. Is that okay? Qin Haodong sighed and said, Why are you so persistent? I have girlfriends, and there are several of them. I won't give them up for any reason. After a long silence, Li Meiyu said, If I don't care about them, will you accept me? Qin Haodong was moved. It was very rare for this jealous girl to do this. It could be seen that she loved him deeply. There's no need to be so difficult for yourself. Maybe tomorrow you will meet someone else who will move your heart and find a love that belongs completely to you. I won't do it again. Li Meiyu grabbed Qin Haodong's hand and put it against her heart. No matter what happens to us in the future, this place has been filled by you, and there's no room for anyone else. Qin Haodong said, I know your feelings for me, but you can't let go of that obsession in your heart. In this way we won't be happy together. When you really think it through, come to me. Li Meiyu fell silent. Indeed, she liked Qin Haodong very much, but she couldn't accept the existence of other girls. Her dream was to have a love that belonged to her alone. Qin Haodong said, Well, let's change the topic. Li Meiyu shook her head, as if she wanted to drive away the troubles in her heart. She lowered her head and opened her bag. She took out a check and gave it to Qin Haodong. This is for you. Qin Haodong took the check and looked at it. It was worth 2 billion yuan. He said, Why did you give me so much money? Li Meiyu said, I bet all the money of the Li family on the battle between you and Mei Zhanlong, and made a lot of money. You deserve it. Qin Haodong said, Forget it. Of course, the money you won belongs to you. Chapter 644. Li Meiyu said, You've helped our family too much. Without you, there would be no Li family today, so you really deserve this money. Qin Haodong waved his hand and said, Keep it for me. I'll get it from you when I need it. Li Meiyu said, You have to take the money anyway. I'll keep it for you until tomorrow at most. If you don't take it, I'll transfer it to Sister Momo. Qin Haodong smiled and said, It's up to you. At this time the limousine stopped. Qin Haodong and Li Meiyu got out of the car and saw a magnificent club in front of them. The decoration of this place was extremely luxurious. Only the 7-star hotel in Dubai that he had seen in the video could compare with this place. The strange thing was that there was no sign. Li Meiyu seemed to know what he was thinking and said, This is the private club of our Hong Kong Chamber of Commerce. It's built according to the standard of a 7-star hotel. It's never open to the public, so there's no sign. Then she took Qin Haodong's arm, and they walked into the club together. Although there was still half an hour before the banquet began, there were already many guests here. These people gathered in 2s and 3s, socializing and looking for business opportunities for their own industries. These things seemed annoying, but they had to do it. As the new head of the Li family, Li Meiyu naturally had to build a good relationship with the upper class of Hong Kong. Li Meiyu knew that Qin Haodong didn't like these things, so she said, "Haodong, sit here for a while. I'll be back soon." "It's okay. Go ahead." Li Meiyu nodded to him apologetically, and then joined those people with a glass of wine. This was a buffet party, and the clubhouse had prepared a lot of delicious food. Qin Haodong chose some of his favorite food with a plate and a glass of red wine. Then he chose a quiet corner and leisurely enjoyed the food on the plate. While he was eating, a familiar figure suddenly appeared in front of him. It was Ouyang Shanshan, who had come to Hong Kong to participate in a commercial performance. He didn't expect to meet her here. At this moment, Ouyang Shanshan's face was very ugly, and she hurried over. Behind her was a middle-aged man in his 40s. The man was wearing a famous brand suit, a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, and a gold watch on his wrist. He was dressed in a completely upper-class outfit, but there was an extremely annoying look in his eyes. Pervert. The middle-aged man didn't notice Qin Haodong in the corner. He grabbed Ouyang Shanshan's arm and said, "Shanshan, don't be a child. We can't afford to offend young Master Gong. Besides, it's just having a drink with him. What's so difficult about that?" Ouyang Shanshan yelled angrily, "Mr. Liang, didn't you see that the playboy insisted on drinking with me?" The middle-aged man said, "Shanshan, we're all gangsters. It's just a joke. Why take it so seriously? Come back with me now, apologize to young Master Gong, and drink a cup of wine happily. There's still room for redemption." Ouyang Shanshan said, "That's impossible. I won't apologize to him, let alone drink wine with him." The middle-aged man's face darkened and he said coldly, "Ouyang Shanshan, don't forget that you're just an artist of the company. You're not some high and mighty saint. You have to obey the company's arrangement. Today, you have to go even if you don't want to." Ouyang Shanshan said angrily, "Why? I'm just an artist of the company, not a prostitute. I won't do such a dirty thing no matter what." The middle-aged man seemed to have completely lost his patience. He said with a sarcastic face, "We're all in this circle. Why are you pretending to be a chaste girl? To tell you the truth, young Master Gong likes you and wants to sleep with you. If you want to be in this circle, you have to be slept with by him. There's no reason for that. Liang Kachin, you're bullsh*t. Ouyang Shanshan was also angry. She even cursed, which was rare for her. "I'm telling you, although I'm an artist of Xingtian Entertainment Company now, we signed a free contract. I can leave at any time." "Leave?" Liang Kachin sneered and then said proudly, "You underestimate my power in the entertainment circle. As long as you leave, I can guarantee that no entertainment company will dare to sign a contract with you. By then, even if you completely leave the entertainment circle, even if you're a popular star now, you'll be forgotten by the society in a few years. You still want to be a star? Dream on." Ouyang Shanshan said coldly, "That's none of your business. From now on, I officially terminate the contract with your company. I have nothing to do with you anymore." Liang Kachin was slightly stunned. He thought that Ouyang Shanshan was just joking. He didn't expect that this woman would really terminate the contract with his company. He had been in the entertainment circle for so many years and had slept with countless women, but he had never seen such a tough female star. "Bitch, where do you think this is? This is Hong Kong, and it's my world. You can't leave as you like. You must satisfy young Master Gong today," Liang Kachin said, and reached out to grab Ouyang Shanshan's arm. At this moment, a cold voice came from beside him. "Take your hands off me." Liang Kachin thought that there was no one here, but he was startled by the voice behind him. He looked back and saw a young man standing there with a cold face. "Haodong." Ouyang Shanshan also saw Qin Haodong. She didn't expect to meet the man she had been thinking about day and night here. She couldn't control the grievance in her heart anymore. She threw herself into Qin Haodong's arms and burst into tears. Seeing that the woman he had been thinking about for a long time had thrown herself into another man's arms, Liang Kaqin's eyes flashed with malice. He asked coldly, "Who are you, boy?" He didn't take Qin Haodong seriously at all since he was wearing ordinary clothes. Qin Haodong ignored him and raised his hand to wipe the tears from Ouyang Shanshan's eyes. He asked, "What the hell is going on? Aren't you in Duku Entertainment Company? Why are you in Xingtian Entertainment Company? Could it be that Lu Huaqiang sold you out?" As he spoke, there was a flash of uncontrollable anger in his eyes. Ouyang Shanshan calmed herself down and said, "It's not what you think. Lu Huaqiang had no choice." After listening to her, Qin Haodong understood what was going on. It turned out that Lu Huaqiang had been very lascivious. He had placed his lover in the company to work as a financial officer. However, the woman suddenly took all the money in his account a few days ago and ran away with a toy boy. The sudden failure of the capital chain caused Lu Huaqiang's Duku Entertainment Company to go bankrupt. He had no choice but to sell the company to Xingtian Entertainment in Hong Kong, and the boss of Xingtian Entertainment was Liang Kaqin. Ouyang Shanshan added, "In fact, Lu Huaqiang is a good man. He terminated my contract with the company before he sold the company. Now I'm completely free and no longer bound by any contract." Liang Kaqin, who was next to her, sneered again and said, "What a brainless woman. I've told you that the *T contract is useless. As long as I say it, no entertainment company will dare to sign a contract with you. At that time, you can only go home and take care of your children." Qin Haodong glanced at him and said to Ouyang Shanshan, "Since no company dares to give you money, let's not sign a contract." Liang Kaqin said sarcastically, "I thought you found a big backer. It turns out that he wants you to quit the entertainment industry. It's not easy for you to accumulate popularity in the entertainment industry over the years. Once you quit, all your previous efforts will be in vain. It's impossible for you to come back." Qin Haodong said, "Our previous efforts can't be in vain. How about this? Let's invest in an entertainment company. You can be the boss and do whatever you want. You don't have to be looked down upon by others anymore." Liang Kaqin sneered and said, "Toy boy, do you think opening an entertainment company is like opening a snack bar? Hundreds of thousands of yuan is enough. People like you can't even think about it in this life." Ouyang Shanshan said in a low voice, "That's right, Haodong. Although I've saved some money over the years, it's still far from enough to open an entertainment company." Qin Haodong asked, "Then tell me, how much does it cost to open an entertainment company?" Ouyang Shanshan said, "Even the most ordinary entertainment company would cost 500 million yuan. An entertainment company like Shengtian would cost at least 1.5 billion yuan." Liang Kaqin sneered and said, "Did you hear that, toy boy? 1.5 billion yuan is not 15 yuan. I'm afraid you've never seen so much money in your life, have you?" At this time, many people at the banquet looked over. Li Meiyu also found that something was wrong and walked back. Seeing the young lady of the Li family coming over, Liang Kaqin quickly said with a flattering face, "Hello, Miss Li." Li Meiyu ignored him and turned to Qin Haodong and said, "Haodong, what's going on?" At the same time, he saw Ouyang Shanshan and quickly said, "Sister Shanshan, why are you here?" "Nothing. Shanshan met a dog." Qin Haodong said to Li Meiyu, "Where's the 2 billion yuan? Give it to me." "Oh, here it is." Li Meiyu didn't know why Qin Haodong suddenly wanted the money, but she still took out the check from her bag. Qin Haodong took the check and gave it to Ouyang Shanshan. "This is 2 billion yuan. You can open an entertainment company with it. You'll be the boss in the future, and you won't have to listen to dogs anymore." "Well, Haodong, is this appropriate?" Ouyang Shanshan didn't expect that Qin Haodong would suddenly take out so much money. She was at a loss for a moment. Qin Haodong said, "Why not? It's my investment. We'll each have half of the shares." Liang Kaqin was completely dumbfounded. Although his Shengtian Entertainment Company was worth 1.5 billion yuan, it was a joint venture of several people, and there were several major shareholders in addition to him. However, This toy boy in front of him suddenly took out so much money and opened an entertainment company. Were all rich people so capricious? Who the hell was he? Chapter 645. Li Meiyu had almost figured out what was going on. She said to Liang Kachin with a cold face, "Are you that annoying dog?" Although he was insulted by Li Meiyu in public, Liang Kachin did not dare to get angry at all. He was just a small boss of a film and television company with a market value of several billion yuan. How could he be compared with Miss Li, who was worth hundreds of billion yuan? As long as Li Meiyu wanted to, she could make his company go bankrupt in minutes. He said with a flattering face, "Miss Li, you misunderstood me. This is really a misunderstanding. I didn't know that this gentleman is your friend. If I had known, I would not have dared to disrespect him." Li Meiyu turned to Qin Haodong and asked, "Haodong, what do you want to do with him?" Seeing that his fate was in Qin Haodong's hands, Liang Kachin quickly bowed and said, "Mr. Qin, I'm really sorry. You are a generous man. Please let me go." Seeing his mean face, Qin Haodong felt disgusted. He waved his hand and said, "Get out of here. Don't let me see you again." Li Meiyu turned around and said, "Did you hear that? Get out of here." "I'll get out now. I'll get out now." After Liang Kachin finished speaking, he ran away dejectedly. Although he had seen the video of the battle between Qin Haodong and Mei Zhanlong, Qin Haodong had cast some illusion on his face, so it was impossible to connect him with the person in the video. Therefore, Liang Kachin only thought that he was Li Meiyu's toy boy. At this moment, a few sparse claps rang out. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw a young man in his 30s coming over. The young man was wearing a handmade suit designed by an Italian master. His hair was meticulously combed, but from his weak footsteps and the two big panda eyes on his face, it could be seen that this guy was obviously hollowed out by wine and women. "Young Master Gong, it's young Master Gong." The onlookers made way for him. This young man was Gong Tengfei, the son of Gong Tianmiao, the president of the Chamber of Commerce. Gong Tengfei walked into the crowd with a proud face. He came to Qin Haodong, glanced at him and said, "Boy, you're living off a woman." Before Qin Haodong could speak, Li Meiyu said with a sullen face, "Gong Tengfei, what nonsense are you talking about?" Gong Tengfei turned around and said to her, "Li Meiyu, I really underestimated you. You actually used 2 billion yuan to support a toy boy. Does your old man know about this?" Li Meiyu said angrily, "Nonsense. You're the gigolo. Your whole family are gigolos." Gong Tengfei's expression changed. "You're actually talking to me like this because of a pretty boy." Li Meiyu was about to lose her temper when Qin Haodong took 2 steps forward and said to her, "Meiyu, you're wrong about this. He's so small that he can only last for dozens of seconds. How can he be a gigolo?" Gong Tengfei has been worrying about his early retirement. To vent his distress, Qin Haodong's words had directly poked his Achilles' heel. He immediately shouted hysterically, "Boy, do you know who you're talking to?" Qin Haodong said coldly, "Do you know who you're talking to?" In order to avoid trouble, he would cast a little illusion on his face when he took photos and videos. But now he realized that there was a flaw in doing so. If this guy knew his identity, he would not dare to be so arrogant. "I don't care who you are," Gong Tengfei shouted arrogantly. "This is the Gong family's territory. You'd better lie down if you're a dragon or a tiger." Qin Haodong sneered and said, "The Gong family is nothing in my eyes. Boy, you're so arrogant. Do you know what will happen to you if you offend me in Hong Kong?" When Gong Tengfei was about to ask someone to teach Qin Haodong a lesson, someone at the front desk shouted, "Tengfei, come here. The banquet is about to begin." At this time, there was a middle-aged man in his 50s standing at the front desk. He was the host of today's banquet and the new president of the Hong Kong Chamber of Commerce, Gong Tianmiao. Gong Tengfei looked back and waved to his father, indicating that he would go there right away. Then he walked to Qin Haodong's ear and whispered, "Boy, let me tell you, Li Meiyu is my woman, and I want that big star. I'll play with them to death in bed sooner or later. Later on, I'll get someone to break your limbs. When that time comes, I'll let you have a good look at how your woman will feel like dying because of me." Then he smiled sinisterly, turned around and walked to the front desk. Qin Haodong looked at his back, and a strong murderous intent rose from the bottom of his heart. At this moment, he had listed Gong Tingfei as a person he must kill. Just at that moment, he felt 7 or 8 resentment from Gong Tingfei. These were the resentment left by the women who had been tortured to death by him. Although their souls had been reincarnated, the resentment would not disappear in a short time. It turned out that because of Gong Tingfei's defects in that aspect, he had a perverted need for women, which was to abuse them crazily. He longed to see women beg for mercy in pain. Because of this perverted hobby, many women had been tortured to death by him. But because of the huge financial resources of the Gong family, all of this was covered up quietly. After Gong Tengfei came on the stage, he stood side by side with Gong Tianmiao. Gong Tianmiao's face was full of pride. He held the microphone and said to the audience, "My friends, welcome to the reception held by me today. In fact, today's reception is not just to bring everyone together. There is an important thing that I want to let my friends witness." His words aroused the curiosity of the guests. They did not know what this financial tycoon wanted to do. As a woman, Li Meiyu had a bad feeling. What Gong Tianmiao said seemed to have something to do with her. At this time, an etiquette lady immediately brought a large bouquet of roses, in the middle of which was a shiny diamond ring. Gong Tianmiao said, "Everyone, today is the day that my son, Tengfei, will propose to Miss Li. Please bear witness to their love." Hearing that Gong Tengfei was going to propose to Li Meiyu, the guests were slightly stunned at first, and then they applauded warmly. Although they applauded, they shook their heads in their hearts. They had more or less heard about Gong Tingfei's character. It was a pity that Li Meiyu, a talented and beautiful woman, was going to marry him. When the applause faded, Gong Tianmiao said to the audience, "Niece Meiyu, today's banquet is specially prepared for you. Please come to the front desk." Although Li Meiyu was in charge of hundreds of billions of yuan, she was only a girl in her early 20s. She was at a loss when she encountered this kind of thing. She could not help looking at Qin Haodong nervously. "Don't be afraid. I'm here. These small fries can't do anything. I'll go with you." Then Qin Haodong walked to the front desk hand in hand with Li Meiyu. This time, the expressions of all the guests changed. Gong Tianmiao publicly announced that he would propose to Li Meiyu, but Li Meiyu walked to the front desk holding another man's arm. It was obvious that she did not want to give face to the Gong family. Now there was a good show to watch. As expected, the faces of the Gong family on the stage became extremely ugly. However, Gong Tianmiao was a cunning guy after all. He soon calmed down and raised his hand to stop Gong Tingfei, who was about to lose his temper. He said to Li Meiyu with a fake smile, "Niece Meiyu, who is this? Your friend?" Li Meiyu said, "Uncle Gong, he is my boyfriend." Gong Tianmiao's eyebrows twitched. Then he said with a sinister smile, "Niece Meiyu, no matter what your relationship is now, I think Tingfei is the most suitable man for you. You two are a match made in heaven." Li Meiyu shook her head and said, "Uncle Gong, I don't think so." Seeing that Li Meiyu did not give face to him again and again, the smile on Gong Tianmiao's face completely disappeared. "Niece Meiyu, now that your father is old, it's not easy for you to support such a big family business alone. If you can marry Tengfei, the Gong family can also help you. If you insist on doing things your own way, I'm afraid that no one in the whole Hong Kong will dare to do business with your family in the future." As he spoke, the threat was obvious. The implication was that if Li Meiyu did not agree to Gong Tingfei's proposal, he would cut off all economic relations with the Li family in the future. This was not a proposal, but an outright forced marriage. He wanted to use the Gong family's economic status in the whole Hong Kong to force Li Meiyu to give in. Gong Tianmiao did think so. He had become the president of the Hong Kong Business Association, and with the Gong family's strong commercial strength and influence, it was a good opportunity to attack the Li family. The Li family had many old and young people. Li Dongguo was a big man when he was young, but now he was dying. Otherwise, he would not be in a hurry to hand over such a big family business to a young girl like Li Meiyu. In his opinion, in order to protect the Li family business, Li Meiyu had to compromise. As long as she could unite with the Li family by marriage, they would have the opportunity to annex the Li family's property in the future. At that time, the Gong family would become the first family in Hong Kong. But to his surprise, Li Meiyu was still unmoved. She said calmly, "Uncle Gong, I don't think so. My boyfriend can also help our family." "Your boyfriend?" Gong Tianmiao smiled disdainfully and said, "Meiyu, you'd better wake up. I really can't think of what such a young man can do for your family. What qualifications does he have to be compared with our Gong family?" "Uncle Gong, if you know his name, I'm afraid you won't say that," Gong Tianmiao said with a sarcastic smile. "Then tell me what's his name. See if you can scare me." He did not think that Qin Haodong had a powerful background, because he knew all the children of the big families in Hong Kong. The person in front of him was a complete stranger. Except that he was a little handsome, there was nothing special about him. Li Meiyu said, "His name is Qin Haodong, and he is nicknamed Medical Sage. Just this morning, he defeated Mei Zhanlong, the #1 magic caster in Hong Kong." His voice was not loud, but after he finished speaking, the whole banquet was boiling. "What? He is Qin Haodong? No wonder he looks familiar. He does look like the person in the video. So he is Medical Sage. What a great young man." No wonder Li Meiyu dared to refuse the Gong family. It turns out that she has found such a powerful backer. Chapter 646. Gong Tianmiao and his son were shocked when they heard that the young man in front of them was the Medical Sage. As Hong Kong people, they naturally knew about the battle between Qin Haodong and Mei Zhanlong. But recently, Gong Tianmiao had been busy taking over as the business president, and all his energy was used to obtain business benefits for the Gong family. He paid little attention to Qin Haodong and didn't know his relationship with the Li family. It was not until Qin Haodong defeated Mei Zhanlong that he knew that there was such a powerful man in Hong Kong. As for Gong Tingfei, all his energy was on women, and he didn't care about men at all. He only knew Qin Haodong's name after he lost 100 million Hong Kong dollars on Mei Zhanlong. After the shock, Gong Tianmiao quickly calmed down. He was a man who had been through a lot. Although Qin Haodong defeated Mei Zhanlong, he didn't think this young man was very scary. After all, he was just an outsider and had no foundation in Hong Kong. In this respect, there was no comparison at all. It could be said that Master Mei had a lot of followers in Hong Kong. As long as he waved his hand, everyone would stand on his side. If Mei Zhanlong forbade everyone from doing business with the Gong family, they could only go out and beg. But Qin Haodong obviously didn't have this ability. Therefore, although he was shocked, he didn't have much fear in his heart. No wonder Meiyu is so stubborn. It turns out that she has found such a big backer. Speaking of this, Gong Tianmiao changed the topic. But you have to think about it. No matter how powerful the Medical Sage is, he can't influence the business circle of Hong Kong. As long as I say a word, your Li family will have no business in the future. Qin Haodong pulled Meiyu behind him. He looked at Gong Tianmiao and said, "Believe it or not, as long as I say a word, no one in Hong Kong will dare to do business with your Gong family. They won't even have any contact with your Gong family." Ha, 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 ha. Gong Tianmiao laughed as if he had heard the funniest joke. After laughing enough, he said, "Young man, you're still too naive. Our Gong family has been operating in Hong Kong for so many years. We have a wide network and a deep foundation. How can you, an outsider, shake us? If it was Master Mei Zhanlong, I might be afraid, but you can't." Qin Haodong's expression was still calm. "But don't forget, Mei Zhanlong has already been defeated by me. So what? Hong Kong is a law-abiding society. Even if you defeated Master Mei, you wouldn't dare to kill us." It was Gong Tingfei who said that with a sarcastic face. He didn't take Qin Haodong seriously at all. Master Mei was like an immortal, but the young man in front of him didn't look like a master at all. Gong Tingfei wondered if the bet was fake. Looking at this impotent pervert, Qin Haodong suddenly burst out a strong killing intent and said sternly, "It's easier for me to kill you than killing an ant." Gong Tingfei was just an arrogant and despotic hedonistic son of a rich family. Usually, he relied on the power of his family to bully the weak. When had he ever seen such a strong killing intent? He suddenly felt a chill from the top of his head to the toes, and a great fear rose from the bottom of his heart. He looked at Qin Haodong in horror, and said in a trembling voice, "Don't mess around. This is a legal society. You have to pay with your life if you kill someone." Just as he said this, he felt his heart beating faster and faster, almost out of control, as if it was going to jump out of his throat. "Dad, help me. Hurry up and help me." Gong Tingfei felt the fear of death. He grabbed Gong Tianmiao's arm, but soon there was a cracking sound in his mind, as if it was the sound of his heart breaking. Then his hands drooped down, and he fell to the ground with a plop. "Doctor, where's the doctor?" Gong Tianmiao didn't expect this to happen, so he hurriedly called the doctor in a panic. Hearing his cry, 2 healthcare doctors of the club rushed over. After carefully checking Gong Tingfei's condition, the leading healthcare doctor said to Gong Tianmiao with regret, "I'm sorry, Mr. Gong. The young master's heart stopped beating, and his pupils are dilated. There's no need to save him." How is this possible?" Gong Tianmiao asked in panic. "How did my son die?" The leading healthcare doctor said, "Judging from the young master's symptoms, he should have died of a myocardial infarction." At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on Qin Haodong, and a chill rose from the bottom of their hearts. This young man had killed Gong Tingfei with just his eyes. This kind of ability was really terrible. Even Mei Zhanlong could not do it. Of course, Qin Haodong did not kill Gong Tingfei with his eyes. After reaching the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm, his genuine qi could be released within a range of about 10 meters. Just now, he used his qi to control Gong Tingfei's heartbeat, thus causing Gong Tingfei's heart to beat too fast and die. Gong Tianmiao turned around, looked at Qin Haodong and shouted, "Did you kill my son?" Qin Haodong said, "He wanted to die." Gong Tianmiao's eyes were red and he shouted, "Bastard, how dare you kill my son? Now we are in a legal society. I want you to go to jail. I want you to pay with your life." Qin Haodong said indifferently, "You're right. Now we are in a legal society. The police need evidence. Just now, everyone saw that I was so far away from your son, and I didn't even move a finger. I'm afraid the police won't believe me if you say that I killed him." Gong Tianmiao's expression froze. At this moment, he realized how terrible the young man in front of him was. He had clearly killed his son in front of him, but he could not find any evidence. Just now, the healthcare doctor had given the diagnosis of myocardial infarction. Even if he called the police now, the police would not think that Qin Haodong was guilty. Qin Haodong said, "Mr. Gong, I advise you not to get excited. Cardiovascular and cerebrovascular diseases are generally hereditary. I'm afraid that you will get sick together with your son. Think about it, the Gong family has such a big family business. If both of you die, who will benefit from it?" Realizing the meaning of his words, the anger in Gong Tianmiao's heart was instantly replaced by fear. This young man could kill his son quietly, and he could also kill him. It was impossible to guard against Qin Haodong's means, and he would not leave any traces. As Qin Haodong had just said, killing them was easier than killing ants. This young man was really terrible. It was not an accident that he defeated the #1 master in Hong Kong. His ability to kill people with his eyes was definitely 100 times better than Mei Zhanlong's. After thinking about this, the more he thought about it, the more frightened he became. He was afraid that Qin Haodong would look at him again, so he quickly bowed and hid under the table. He was trembling all over, and did not even have the courage to show his face again. Seeing that the president of the Chamber of Commerce was so scared, the others also realized this, and stepped back one after another, for fear that Qin Haodong would kill them with a single glance. In the past, they had been in awe of Mei Zhanlong's magic, but they had never reached this level. At this moment, Qin Haodong was no different from a demon in their hearts. Qin Haodong glanced around and said, "I'm a man of my word. I've just said that from today on, no one is allowed to do business with the Gong family. If anyone dares to violate this rule, I don't mind going to his house." As he spoke, a powerful aura burst forth from his body. Under the pressure of his primordial spirit, boundless reverence rose in everyone's hearts. It was as if the young man's words were an imperial edict, an order that no one dared to disobey. Gong Tianmiao lay under the table and wailed in his heart. He knew that the Gong family was completely finished. With this sentence, no one dared to do business with them in the future. Qin Haodong took Li Meiyu's hand and said, "From now on, I'll be the backer of the Li family. I welcome you to do normal business with the Li family. I won't say anything about normal business competition, but if anyone dares to use any dirty means, I don't mind destroying his family." Then he waved his hand and called Ouyang Shanshan, who was stunned over. "This is my friend and my partner. I'm going to open an entertainment company in Hong Kong, and Ouyang Shanshan will be in charge of it. This is my company. If anyone wants to make trouble, I advise you to prepare your own grave in advance." There was complete silence. No one dared to make a single sound. The powerful pressure from the soul had already left an indelible mark in their hearts. Whether it was the Li family or Ouyang Shanshan, they were definitely not people they could afford to offend. Liang Kaqin hid in the corner. Originally, he wanted to find a chance to take revenge on Ouyang Shanshan, but now he completely dispelled the idea. Even if he was given 100 guts, he would not dare to touch Ouyang Shanshan again. After that, there was no need for Qin Haodong to stay any longer. He left the banquet with Li Meiyu and Ouyang Shanshan. After they went out, Ouyang Shanshan said to Qin Haodong, "Haodong, thank you." In the eyes of others, she was a glamorous star. But in fact, only she knew how much she had suffered behind the scenes. Now the man in front of her had completely changed her fate. In the future, she would no longer be a simple entertainer. She would have her own entertainment company and become the boss. From now on, she would no longer have to worry about the unspoken rules, accompany others to drink, or be subservient to others. Moreover, with Qin Haodong's power just now, she believed that no one in Hong Kong would dare to make trouble for her. "There's nothing to thank me for. Call me if you need anything in the future." Qin Haodong waved goodbye to Ouyang Shanshan, and then got into Li Meiyu's limousine. After getting in the car, Li Meiyu looked at the man in front of her with a complicated expression. Originally, she knew that the father and son of the Gong family were up to no good, so she wanted to use Qin Haodong to get through this. She didn't expect that Qin Haodong not only helped her solve the problem, but also solved it so thoroughly. From now on, the Li family would have a new future in Hong Kong. Qin Haodong looked at her with a smile and said, "Are you going to thank me too?" Li Meiyu gritted her teeth and said in a low voice, "Let's go get a room." Chapter 647. While speaking, Li Meiyu lowered her head. It was the first time she had said such words to a man. Her cheeks blushed like a ripe apple. Qin Haodong reached out to hold her cheek, kissed her gently on the forehead, and said, "Why are you doing this? Let's talk about it when you make a decision." Li Meiyu did not speak. She knew the distance between them. Even if she really let go and could accept his girlfriends, so what? Qin Haodong was not an ordinary person. He could not stay in Hong Kong forever because of her. Now she was shouldering the responsibility of the whole Li family, so she could not stay with Qin Haodong all the time. All the things in Hong Kong had been settled. The next day, Qin Haodong, Nailan Wushuang, and Feng Wu got on the plane back to Huaxia. After getting off the plane, Qin Haodong asked Nailan Wushuang and Feng Wu to go home first, and he went to Lin's jewelry alone. In the blink of an eye, he had been away from Shanghai for 10 days, and his heart was full of missing Lin Momo. He did not call Lin Momo, but came here quietly. It was the noon break time, and there were not many people walking in the whole office building. He came to the door of the president's office, gently opened the door, and quietly walked in. Lin Momo did not rest. She stood in front of the file cabinet, looking for something. Qin Haodong put his arms around her slender waist from behind, and kissed her hard on the cheek. "Girl, why don't you take a rest at noon? Why are you working so hard?" Lin Momo's body was tense at first, but then she felt the breath of this man and relaxed. She turned around and said to Qin Haodong in surprise, "You're back. Why didn't you call me in advance?" Qin Haodong still put his arms around her slender waist, put his forehead on hers, and said with a smile, "I wanted to make a surprise attack." I wanted to see if there was a gigolo behind your man's back. You're a gigolo? Who else would I look for? Being held tightly by Qin Haodong, and hearing the words your man, Lin Momo felt her blood getting hotter, and her cheeks getting redder and redder. In that case, I'll give you a good reward. Qin Haodong kissed her hard, and his two big hands also launched a crazy attack. Due to various reasons, he and Lin Momo hadn't done this kind of thing for a long time. Both of them were like dry firewood and raging fire. The slightest spark would ignite them. After a long time, Lin Momo pushed him away and said breathlessly, "Don't mess around. This is the office." However, what Qin Haodong wanted was the office. During this time, Lin Momo had been busy with work. The two of them had no time to go out and get a room. There was always an elf-like little fellow at home. It was the right time to look for the office. Moreover, this kind of thing would be different if they changed the venue. He locked the door of the office and rushed into the suite with Lin Momo in his arms. Under her man's fierce attack, Lin Momo had no strength at all. She couldn't resist at all, and let him do whatever he wanted. Along the way, the two of them were wearing less and less clothes. When they threw themselves on the bed, they were already naked. For the whole afternoon, the two of them were busy on the bed. First, they were like dry firewood and raging fire to relieve the pain of lovesickness. Then, Qin Haodong set up a restriction in the room to help Lin Momo improve her cultivation. With the magic cultivation method of double cultivation initiation, Lin Momo also reached the 9th level of Supreme Power Realm after 2 hours. Qin Haodong was very satisfied with this result. The top families in the capital only had 2 9th level Supreme Power Realm experts, but now he had a total of 4. Moreover, this was not the end. There would be more and more. If Hu Xiaoxian, Nalan Wuxia and Yagi Yukaim of Neon were included, he could gather 7 9th level Supreme Power Realm experts. This strength was enough for him to look down on the 7 great families in the capital. Thinking of Hu Xiaoxian, this little fox-like woman had suddenly lost contact recently. He couldn't get through to her on the phone, and he didn't know where she had gone. When it was almost time to get off work, the door of Lin Momo's president's office opened, and Qin Haodong came out. Lin Momo didn't leave with him. She had delayed her work for the whole afternoon. There were a lot of things that had to be dealt with today, so she had to hurry back. After leaving Lin's jewelry, Qin Haodong thought about it and took a taxi to the Shanghai Medical College. Some time ago, he was in a hurry to go to Hong Kong. Although Lin Momo had already helped him to drop out of school, Ji Fubao and the others still didn't know what was going on. After all, they were brothers, so it was better to say hello. When he arrived at the Shanghai Medical College, he got out of the car and strolled to the classroom. When the bell rang, Ji Fubao and the others rushed out of the classroom. When they saw Qin Haodong, they were slightly stunned and then rushed to him. Ji Fubao held Qin Haodong in his arms and kissed him on the cheek with his thick lips. "Boss, where have you been these days? Why didn't you say hello? I thought you were captured and sold to Thailand to do a special job." Qin Haodong pushed him away and wiped the saliva on his cheek. "Damn fatty, stay away from me. If you want to be gay, go find Tian Boguang." Tian Boguang pulled Qin Haodong's arm and cried, "Yes, boss, where have you been these days? After you left, several campus belles in our class also disappeared. Did you elope with them?" There were 4 people in their dormitory, and only Dai Hongbing behaved normally. He stood next to them with a silly smile. Qin Haodong said, "You haven't eaten yet, right? Let's find a place to eat and talk. It's my treat today. You can eat whatever you want." Ji Fubao cried, "That's great. I can't eat well without you at home these days. I'll have a good meal today." They entered a hotel at the school gate, ordered a table of wine and dishes, and began to eat and drink. After 2 glasses of wine, Ji Fubao asked, "Boss, where have you been these days?" Qin Haodong said, "I went to Hong Kong." Tian Boguang looked at him and asked, "Boss, why did the 3 campus belles in our class leave as soon as you left? Did you really elope with them?" At this point, Qin Haodong didn't want to hide it from them. He briefly told them about his situation with Nalan Wushuang and Qi Wan-er. He also said that Li Meiyu had returned to Hong Kong, and the girls would never come back. After listening to him, Tian Boguang said with a surprised face. Boss, you are so inhumane. It turns out that all the campus belles in our class have been abducted by you. Ji Fubao said. Fortunately, you left Su Hui with us. But after you left, Su Hui seemed to be in a bad mood in class. She often missed classes and didn't come to class today. When it came to Su Hui, Qin Haodong could only sigh secretly. He knew that the girl was interested in him, but he couldn't drink all of it. Sometimes it was good for both of them to keep a little distance. Tian Boguang continued. It hasn't been easy for us recently. Since the last exchange with Koryo, we don't know where the first campus belles, Feng Wu, have gone. Only the sexy campus belles, Li Jiumei, are left in the top 5. Qin Haodong said. Why do you care so much? It has nothing to do with you whether she's here or not. Boss, you're wrong, Ji Fubao said righteously. You don't know the hunger of the hungry. Although we can't find a girlfriend like the campus belles, it's good to see her. But now, we don't even have a chance to see her. Qin Haodong really didn't know what to say about this topic. He couldn't say that the first campus belles, Feng Wu, was at his home. Dai Hongbing, who had been silent, said. Okay, it's rare for us 4 brothers to get together. Let's drink. After that they chatted while eating. Qin Haodong also explained his situation to everyone and said goodbye. When they heard that the boss would not come to school again, they were all quite sad. In the end, Ji Fubao and Tian Boguang were carried back to the dormitory by Qin Haodong and Dai Hongbing. When they came out of the dormitory, the moon was already high above the willow tree. Qin Haodong was walking forward when suddenly a delicate fragrance came over him. A charming voice said in his ear, Handsome, do you want to date? Qin Haodong turned his head and looked. This person was the sexy campus belles, Li Jiumei, whom Tian Boguang had just mentioned. What a coincidence. I didn't expect to meet you here. Li Jiumei giggled, and her chest rose and fell dramatically. Handsome, if I say that I've been looking for you, would you believe it? Qin Haodong said. I don't believe it. Why are you looking for me? Of course, I want to do something that adults should do. Li Jiumei said in his ear. How about it? Do you want to have sex with me? Qin Haodong was speechless. He really didn't know what this woman wanted to do. Every time they met, she would tease him, but he had a reaction. He said with a wry smile. Tell me, what do you want to do? Nothing. You stood me up on our last date. This time, you have to make up for it. Li Jiumei said as she hugged his arm. Her sexy body was tightly attached to him. She said with a charming smile. Since you're not used to being too direct, let's go to a movie first and slowly cultivate our relationship. Qin Haodong said. We're not very familiar with each other, and I have something to do. I really don't have time to go to a movie with you. Li Jiumei rolled her eyes at him and said in a resentful tone. It's your fault that we're not familiar with each other. If you hadn't stood me up, we might have had a very deep understanding of each other. So you have to accompany me to a movie today, or I'll sue you for molestation. Qin Haodong glanced at her. Although this woman seemed to be open-minded, she was actually still a virgin. She must have other purposes for contacting him like this. Out of curiosity, he said, Well, I'll accompany you to a movie. Chapter 648. Well, let's go. Li Jiumei took Qin Haodong's arm, and they walked out of the campus like a couple. Then they took a taxi and went to a cinema in Shanghai. Qin Haodong was about to buy a ticket when Li Jiumei grabbed his arm and cried, I want to eat popcorn. It's a perfect match for watching a movie. Wait, I'll buy it for you. Qin Haodong asked Li Jiumei to stand there, and he ran to the stall next to him to buy a large bucket of popcorn. His family was poor in the past, and he had never eaten this kind of thing. He grabbed a few popcorn and put it into his mouth. It was sweet and fragrant and tasted really good. Wait here, I'll buy the tickets. Qin Haodong asked Li Jiumei to wait in front of the door, and he ran to the ticket office to buy the tickets. It was the peak time for watching a movie. After waiting for a while, he bought 2 movie tickets, but when he returned to the original place, Li Jiumei was nowhere to be seen. Where is she? Where did she go? Did this girl ask me out to watch a movie, just to swindle a bucket of popcorn from me? Qin Haodong looked around and suddenly saw the scattered popcorn. Then he looked in the direction and saw 3 big men carrying a sack in the distance. They were walking forward in a hurry, and the sack kept squirming. It was obvious that there was a person inside. Oh no, this girl has been caught. Thinking of this, he immediately chased after them. The 3 big men were all extremely rugged. They were 190 meters tall and weighed no less than 100 kilograms. The big man in the middle was carrying a sack and walking forward in a hurry. Stop. Suddenly, a young man appeared in front of them. Qin Haodong had already felt the aura in the sack and was sure that it was Li Jiumei. He glanced at the 3 men again. These 3 big guys had reached the 5th level of the covert power. No wonder they could kidnap Li Jiumei silently. Toy boy, what are you doing? The big man carrying the sack said in a rough voice. Qin Haodong did not know the specific situation, so he was not in a hurry to take action. He said, let her go and then get out of here. When the big man saw that Qin Haodong was here to ask for Qin Haodong, he immediately shouted to his 2 companions next to him. Lao Er and Lao San. This guy wants to rob us. Let's break his bones. The 2 burly men agreed and stretched out their fan-like hands to grab him. With Qin Haodong's current cultivation, he didn't care about these 2 people at all. He kicked both of them away. Before the burly man in the middle could react, he grabbed the sack and sent him flying with a kick. Since it was downtown, Qin Haodong didn't want to make too much noise. Before people could react, he had already disappeared with the sack. The 3 burly men crawled up from the ground, wanting to fight to the death, but they were nowhere to be seen. After finding a quiet place, Qin Haodong opened the sack and let Li Jiumei out. He removed the towel stuffed in her mouth and the rope tied around her body. What do you think? Are you okay? Qin Haodong asked. I'm fine. It's just a pity for the bucket of popcorn. Li Jiumei stood up and moved her limbs. She found that there was a piece of popcorn hidden in the ravine of her chest. She took it out and put it in her mouth, eating it happily. Qin Haodong was speechless. This girl was really a foodie. She had just been kidnapped, but she still wanted to eat popcorn. Who the hell are they? A strange look flashed across Li Jiumei's face, but she soon calmed down and said, I don't know. Maybe they are kidnappers who like me. Qin Haodong said, but I feel that these 3 people don't seem to be malicious to you. Who knows? Anyway, I don't know them. Li Jiumei said, since you saved me, I have to thank you. I don't want to watch the movie. I'll treat you to dinner. Forget it. If there's nothing else, I'll go back. For some reason, Qin Haodong always felt that there was something wrong with what happened today. No, even if you want to go, you have to send me back first. Li Jiumei said pitifully. What if the 3 bad guys still follow me after you leave? I'm a weak woman. Won't I suffer a lot? Well, I'll send you home first. Qin Haodong and Li Jiumei got in a taxi. 10 minutes later, they arrived at a residential area. After getting out of the car, he asked, don't you live in the dormitory? No, it's not convenient to live alone in the dormitory. Come up with me and have a look at my home. I have something to tell you. Li Jiumei did not allow Qin Haodong to refuse. She took him upstairs. This was an apartment building. Although the area was not too large, only about 50 or 60 square meters, the room was very clean, mainly in pink, and the decoration was very warm. Qin Haodong still felt a little strange, sharing a room with such a sexy girl. He said, what's the matter? Hurry up and tell me. I have to go back after that. What's the hurry? What else can you do in the middle of the night? Li Jiumei said as she poured a glass of water and sent it to him. Drink a glass of water first. I'm going to take a bath. I was just stuffed into a sack by those 3 people. I'm so dirty. I'll tell you after I take a bath. After that, she grabbed a bath towel and went into the bathroom next to her. Qin Haodong had no choice but to sit there and wait. He had just drunk a lot of wine and felt thirsty at this time. He grabbed the glass and drank up the mineral water in it. Li Jiumei secretly watched everything outside from the bathroom. When she saw Qin Haodong drink the water in the glass, a touch of pride appeared on the corner of her mouth. Qin Haodong sat there, took out his mobile phone and fiddled with it for a while. Hearing the sound of water coming from the bathroom, he couldn't help thinking of Li Jiumei's hot figure. The graceful curve of her chest couldn't help appearing in his mind. There seemed to be a fire in his body, and he felt hotter and hotter. He picked up the water glass, and took 2 more glasses of water from the water dispenser, and drank it up. But the burning feeling in his body did not subside at all. Just when he felt anxious, Lee Jiumei came out of the bathroom. She did not wear clothes, but wrapped a bath towel around her key parts. Maybe because her chest was too full, the bath towel was a little tight, and seemed to fall off at any time. She raised her hands, and tidied up the wet hair behind her head. Now her graceful figure was more vividly displayed in front of Qin Haodong. At this time, Lee Jiumei was like a torch, suddenly igniting the dry firewood in Qin Haodong's body. The fire was burning bigger and bigger, and it seemed that it was going to swallow him up. His breathing became heavier and heavier, and his eyes were fixed on the sexy white skin of the woman in front of him, as well as the exaggerated curve. "Do I look good?" Lee Jiumei glanced at him charmingly, and put her hands on the bath towel on her chest. "Do you want me to open it and let you have a look?" Qin Haodong felt that his throat was also on fire, and he couldn't even speak. Suddenly he remembered something. When he was with Yagyu Yukheim, someone had secretly done something to him in the water. This was the feeling. Could it be that there was something wrong with the glass of water that Lee Jiumei had just given him? As soon as he thought of this, his brain suddenly stopped, and he lost the ability to think. Then his nostrils felt hot, as if there were 2 hot streams flowing out. In front of him, Lee Jiumei really untied the bath towel on her chest, and showed all the graceful scenery inside in front of him. Hot air sprayed out of Qin Haodong's nostrils, and his eyes were blood red. He let out a beast-like roar, violently picked up Lee Jiumei, and rushed to the big bed next to him. An extremely complicated look flashed across Lee Jiumei's face, and then she slowly closed her eyes. Then a scene of an erotic scene played out in the room. After a long time, the clouds stopped and the rain stopped. The 2 of them slowly quieted down. The red in Qin Haodong's eyes had faded, and he slowly regained his senses. Recalling the scene just now, he couldn't help but feel speechless. Including the time when Yagyu Yukheim was drugged, this was the 2nd time he had been drugged. As a man, he really didn't know whether it was good or bad to encounter such things often. He turned his head, and glanced at the woman next to him. Lee Jiumei, who had just been moistened by the rain and dew, looked more beautiful and charming at this time. She was already extremely sexy, but now she had a mature charm. "Big sister, what are you doing?" Qin Haodong smiled bitterly. Of course, he would not cry like a woman, but he had to figure out the cause of the matter. If a beautiful and sexy woman like Lee Jiumei wanted to find a boyfriend, she could call a strong army with a wave of her hand. Why did she use this method on him? Lee Jiumei smiled playfully and said, "Are you going to call the police and say that I molested you?" Big sister, tell me quickly, what are you doing?" Lee Jiumei smiled again and said, "I just like you. You are handsome, have a house and a car, and have a good job as a doctor, so I pushed you down. Now, I don't have to worry about food and clothing for the rest of my life. I don't have to worry about money anymore." Qin Haodong said, "Are you serious at all? If you don't tell me, I'm leaving." From the bottom of his heart, he was still a very traditional man. Since he had such a relationship with Lee Jiumei, he felt that he should take responsibility for this woman. But before that, he first had to figure out what was going on with this woman. What was she going to do? "You're really boring. I'm a little regretful." After making another joke, Lee Jiumei stopped smiling and said seriously, "To tell you the truth, I'm from the Hmong village in Xiangxi. I'm a descendant of the Jili tribe, and I'm a Hmong woman. The 3 people who kidnapped me yesterday were not robbers but my brother." The more Qin Haodong listened, the more confused he became. He asked, "Your brother? Why did they kidnap you?" Chapter 649. Get married? Do you still need to get married? Do you have a fiancé? Then why are you doing this to me? Qin Haodong felt more and more confused, and threw out a series of questions. "Don't worry. It's a long story. Listen to me slowly." Lee Jiumei nestled in Qin Haodong's arms, found a comfortable position, and began to talk slowly. I grew up in the Hmong village in Xiangxi. We are the descendants of the Jili tribe, and we worship Qiyu. Qiyu is a powerful ancient figure. But for some reason, we only inherited some simple cultivation methods and the Guan poison that the world is familiar with. There is a divine mountain behind our village, where the statue of Qiyu is enshrined. Behind the statue is the forbidden area of the Jili tribe. It is said that it used to be the place where Qiyu lived. As long as you can open the gate of the forbidden area, you can get the purest inheritance of the Jili tribe. If others heard this, they could only treat it as a story or a legend. But Qin Haodong was different. He held the Xianyuan sword in his hand and obtained the inheritance of the Yellow Emperor's cultivation method, the Xianyuan skill. Li Jiumei continued. According to the ancestral teachings of the Jili tribe, the only way to open the gate of the forbidden area is to let Qiyu recognize the blood of the Holy Virgin. According to this ancestral teaching, our Hmong village will choose a saintess every 20 years. On the day the saintess reaches 20 years old, we will bring the saintess to open the door of the forbidden land. Unfortunately, after so many years, there hasn't been a saintess whose blood has been recognized by the great god Qiyu. Qin Haodong said in surprise. How can we open the forbidden area with the blood of the Holy Virgin? You won't just kill him, will you? Of course not. We are kind by nature. How can we be so fierce to our own people? Li Jiumei said. There is a stone statue of a monster in front of the forbidden area. The way to open it is to take 3 drops of the Holy Virgin's blood and put it in the monster's mouth. But there is a special requirement. That is, the Holy Virgin must get rid of her virginity before the age of 20. According to the ancestral records, only the blood without yin qi can get the recognition of Qiyu to the greatest extent. Qin Haodong said. Are you the current Holy Virgin of the Hmong village? Li Jiumei nodded. I was chosen as the Holy Virgin soon after I was born. From that moment on, I couldn't decide my own fate. Fortunately, my grandfather was the chief of the Hmong village. He was very open-minded and did not limit me to a small place like the Hmong village. He let me go to university and left Xiangxi. However, Grandpa has a condition. He wants me to find a man when I'm 20, and then open the forbidden area of the Divine Mountain. Although there have been many boys pursuing me, none of them caught my eye, until the day I saw you. She raised her head, stared into Qin Haodong's eyes and said, Since the moment I saw you, I felt that you were the man I should choose. But you are so annoying. I asked you to date, but you stood me up. The day of the forbidden area's opening is getting closer and closer. Originally, I wanted to look for you again, but who would have thought that you would suddenly disappear again? And I haven't seen you for more than 10 days. My grandpa in the Hmong village saw that I couldn't find anyone, so he arranged a marriage for me and asked me to go back and get married. But I don't like that person at all. How could I give myself to him casually? I never agreed. The forbidden area will be opened in 2 days. Grandpa can't wait, so he asked my 3 brothers to take me back. Qin Haodong said with a bitter face. But isn't it a little too rash for you to choose me like this? I have a few girlfriends. There's nothing rash about it. Li Jiumei said. My fate has been decided. It's better to give myself to someone I like than to someone I don't like. I knew that you wouldn't agree so easily, so I used a little trick. I wanted to watch a movie to create the atmosphere, but my 3 rude brothers ruined it. As for your girlfriends, I don't care. There's no conflict between them and me, as long as you also like me. After figuring out the whole story, Qin Haodong said, What if I don't come back in a few days? What else can we do? I can't break my promise in front of Grandpa. Otherwise, our family will become the sinners of the whole Hmong village. If you don't come back by tomorrow night, I only have 2 choices. I can either go back and get married to that guy, or I can grab someone from the school and have sex with them. Li Jiumei said with a smile. Fortunately, you have a conscience and came back in time. Qin Haodong was speechless for a while. It had nothing to do with conscience. He didn't know these things before, but since it had happened, he could only say that it was fate. If Xi Fubao and the others knew that the second campus belle had also become his woman, he didn't know if they would come to fight with him. He asked, Then when are you going back? It's not me, it's us. Li Jiumei smiled slyly. According to the rules of the clan, you are now the son-in-law of our Hmong village. You must go with me. Qin Haodong didn't expect that there was such a rule. He said, well, since you've solved it here, there's no need for me to go again, right? How can you do that? You must go, or the clan won't believe me. What if they force me to marry that guy again? Wouldn't you be wearing a green hat by then? Qin Haodong was completely conquered by this woman's unrestrained thinking. No matter what, Li Jiumei was now his woman, so it was not a big deal to go with her. Well, I'll go with you, but it can't be too long. No problem. We'll come back as long as the opening ceremony is completed. Li Jiumei cried excitedly, you're so nice. You deserve to be the man I chose. Looking at the graceful body in front of him, Qin Haodong felt like he was dreaming. He had another woman in a daze. Li Jiumei held his arm and said coquettishly, but you were so rude just now. You didn't care whether it was my first time or not. Can you blame me for that? You gave me too much medicine. I'm afraid that your constitution is too good. You're a doctor, so the medicine won't work if it's too little. I only have one chance. Li Jiumei said, I don't care. Anyway, you have to compensate me. Qin Haodong said, how can I compensate you? Li Jiumei said charmingly, 3 more gentle times to make up for your rudeness just now. Before Qin Haodong could say anything, he was already pressed under her, and then the first compensation began. In the following night, he finally realized what it meant to be affectionate. Although it was Li Jiumei's first time, she was still as enthusiastic as fire. He could not remember how many times he had compensated her. It was not until dawn that he finally stopped. He first went to the bathroom to take a cold shower, and then covered Li Jiumei's charming body with the quilt. This woman seemed to be magical. As long as he saw her body, he could not stop. When are we leaving? Qin Haodong asked. After a night of torment, Li Jiumei was also very tired. She said lazily, we'll leave in a while. We have to rush back to our Hmong village before tonight. Tomorrow night, we will go to the mountain to pay our respects. Qin Haodong said, can I take 2 people with me? He felt a little embarrassed to leave as soon as he came back from Hong Kong, so he wanted to take Nailan Wushuang and Feng Wu with him. As if seeing through his mind, Li Jiumei said, you don't want to take that flat-chested woman with you, do you? How do you know? While Qin Haodong was shocked, he also cursed in his heart. Feng Wu's figure was perfect, and she was not flat-chested at all. How would she feel if she knew that she was called a flat-chested woman? However, compared with Li Jiumei's amazing curvature, Feng Wu was indeed a little slender. However, each of them had their own characteristics. If Feng Wu was really matched with Li Jiumei's big breasts, not only would her figure become abnormal, but her temperament would also not match. Only this little witch, who was known as the sexy campus belle, could match such a devilish figure. Li Jiumei said, you 2 hooked up at the exchange meeting. Don't think that I can't see it. After you disappeared, she disappeared. I don't believe that you 2 didn't elope. What are you talking about? She's just a dry bean sprout. I really don't know what you like about her. Li Jiumei waved her hand and said, everyone has their own preferences. I don't care if you like that flat-chested woman, but you can't take her with you this time. You are the man I chose. How can you take a woman back? How can I explain it to my grandparents? Well, Qin Haodong thought about it and agreed. Well, I'll go with you alone, but I have to call home first. Li Jiumei said, go ahead, but you'd better not tell the flat-chested woman that you are going with me. Otherwise, she may be jealous and go to the Hmong village with you. From her words, Qin Haodong felt that her relationship with Feng Wu did not seem to be very harmonious. After hesitating for a while, he did not tell Feng Wu that he was with Li Jiumei, nor did he say that they were going to the Hmong village. He just said that he was going with a friend to treat her family. After listening to him on the phone, Li Jiumei curled her lips and said, you men's words really can't be trusted. Ugh, it's all because of you that I lied. Now you actually dare to laugh at me. Qin Haodong pulled the quilt away and raised his hand to slap Li Jiumei's butt. There was a loud and crisp sound, but Li Jiumei did not care at all. She glanced at Qin Haodong and said, "Handsome boy, I was wrong. How about I compensate you?" Qin Haodong quickly covered her body with the quilt. If they continued to toss and turn like this, he was afraid that both of them would become soft-footed shrimps later. How could they go back to the Hmong village? Chapter 650. An hour later, the two of them went downstairs with their luggage and rushed to the airport. Li Jiumei didn't feel much in bed, but when she went downstairs, she still felt the price of last night's madness. There was a burst of pain, and at the same time, she felt a little uncomfortable walking. As a doctor, Qin Haodong knew what was going on. He reached out and put his hand on her lower abdomen. Under the operation of the Greenwood Jinyuan Qi, Li Jiumei's strange feeling and pain immediately disappeared. After feeling the comfort of her body, Li Jiumei winked at him and said with a charming smile, "It seems that it's good to find a doctor as a boyfriend. I'll reward you in the evening." Again, you really forget the pain when the scar is healed. You'd better take a good rest these days. Okay, I'll listen to you. I'll squeeze you dry in a few days. When the two of them went downstairs, they found that three big men were already waiting there. They were Li Jiumei's three brothers. Since she had decided to go back, there was no need to hide from these people. So Li Jiumei specially called them to come over and prepared to return to the Hmong village together. "Let me introduce you. This is my eldest brother Li Jiugao. This is my second brother Li Jiufu. This is my third brother Li Jishui." After introducing the three big men, Li Jiumei pulled Qin Haodong and said, "This is my man Qin Haodong." Li Jiumei did not say anything about her boyfriend. She directly said that this was her man. The implication was that the two of them had made a good relationship. After listening to her introduction, Qin Haodong burst out laughing. It turned out that the three big men in front of him were tall, rich and handsome brothers. It seemed that their father was also a wonderful person. He actually gave the three bear-like guys such lofty names. The three brothers glanced at Qin Haodong. The third brother Li Jishui said, "Little sister, your taste is getting worse and worse. You actually found such a bean sprout. His physique is too poor. Be careful not to break your waist." Qin Haodong was speechless. It turned out that the three brothers were not only ugly, but also not very smart. How could they talk to their sister like this? As soon as he finished speaking, the second son Li Jiufu shouted, "Yes, yes. How can this little bean sprout compare to the big bear that Grandpa chose for you? The big bear's arm is thicker than his waist. One punch from him can smash his head into his neck." The eldest brother Li Jiugao was the burly man who carried the sack last night. He glared at his two brothers and shouted, "What are you talking about? Even if it's a bean sprout, it's a bean sprout that my sister loves to eat. Although her body is a little weak, she can cook at home and take care of the kids in the future." "Sister, your two brothers are right. This bean sprout is really bad. I won't admit that he is my brother-in-law. Bringing him to the Hmong village will be a disgrace to our Jili tribe. All of you shut up." Although Li Jiumei liked to joke, she would never allow others to belittle her man, not even her own brother. She looked at the three brothers and said, "Don't forget that you were sent flying by my man last night. When I go back, I will tell my grandfather, and then I will give you a good training, so that you will not be so useless. If it is known, you will lose face for our Jili tribe." Ah! Just now, the three brothers were so busy laughing at Qin Haodong that they forgot to look at his appearance carefully. At this time, they found that the bean sprout in front of them was the master who had kicked them away last night. Thinking of how terrible their grandfather was, the three brothers immediately changed their expressions. They immediately surrounded Qin Haodong with a smile. Li Jiugao said first, "Brother-in-law, we were just joking with you. Since the first time we saw you, we have recognized you as our brother-in-law." Li Jiufu also said, Yes, we were all teasing you. Otherwise, how could we be kicked away by you?" Li Jishui said, "That's right. We are all family, so we don't care about it. Otherwise, how could we, the brave and invincible three brothers, lose to you?" Faced with the three brothers who suddenly changed their expressions, Qin Haodong really didn't know what to say. Li Jiumei said, "Well, let's go quickly. If we stay a little longer, we won't be able to take the plane. After that, she threw all the luggage in her hand to the three brothers, and then took 2 taxis to the airport. People like the tall, rich, and handsome three brothers would attract attention wherever they went. Many people turned their heads along the way. These 3 people had never been on a plane. When they arrived at the airport, they looked here and there. Everything was full of novelty. After getting on the plane, fortunately, Qin Haodong bought first-class seats, so the 3 of them could barely sit down. It took about 4 hours to fly from Shanghai to Meng Village in Xiangxi. About 2 hours later, the stewardess on the plane began to prepare meals for everyone. Gentlemen, there is a special discount on this flight. The meals are free and unlimited. I wish you a happy meal. After a tall stewardess finished speaking, she began to give each of them meals. But before she finished distributing the first-class meals, she heard someone shouting behind her, "Little girl, I've finished my meal. Give me another one." "I've also finished my meal. 1 is not enough. Give me 3 more." "I don't want 3, I want 5. The 3 people who shouted were the 3 brothers. Li Jiumei quickly reached out to cover her face, for fear that others would know that she knew these 3 foodies. Qin Haodong also turned his face out of the window and looked at the leisurely white clouds outside. The stewardess was stunned. Generally speaking, people who could sit in the first class were successful people who were tired of eating delicacies. Generally, they could not finish a meal and rarely asked for a second one. The so-called unlimited free meal was just a gimmick. No one would eat endlessly on the plane, but today she met it. She had been a stewardess for so many years, but she had never seen such a big appetite of passengers. "Hurry up, we're all hungry." Seeing that the stewardess did not respond, the 3 brothers shouted again. "Okay, I'm coming." The stewardess took out 9 more meals and gave 3 to each of them. "Gentlemen, please enjoy your meal." "How can I eat slowly? There's so little food. What if it's gone?" "That's right. Such delicious food can only be eaten quickly." In the stunned eyes of the stewardess, the tall, rich, and handsome 3 brothers ate up the 3 in-flight meals in front of them in the blink of an eye with the momentum of sweeping away the clouds. "Little girl, give me 5 more. Your appetite is too small. It's not even enough to fill my teeth." "It tastes good. Give me 6 more. You don't have to choose the taste, as long as it's edible. I'm finally half full. I haven't eaten in the morning." For a time, the 3 brothers became the scenery of the first-class cabin. The remaining passengers also found them interesting and gave up their in-flight meals. But even so, the 3 brothers' appetite was far from enough. Soon, they ate up all the meals in the stewardess's hands. "Is there anything else to eat? We haven't eaten enough yet. Hurry up. Didn't you say that there's no limit? How can it be finished after eating so little? If you give me 10 more, I'll be almost full." The stewardess was shocked at first, and then she almost burst into tears. She took out a dumpling and sent it to the 3 brothers. "Good dumplings. They taste good. I like the pork and green onion stuffing." After the 3 brothers finished eating, they cried out excitedly. Li Jiugao said to the stewardess discontentedly, "Why didn't you take out such delicious dumplings earlier? Are you hiding something delicious? Take it out for us to eat." The stewardess said with tears in her eyes, "I'm sorry, gentlemen. There's really no more. These are the dumplings my mother made for me. There's really nothing to eat on the plane." Qin Haodong couldn't stand it anymore. He stopped the 3 brothers, and then took out 1,000 yuan, and gave it to the stewardess. He asked her to eat after getting off the plane. The stewardess looked at him gratefully. If it weren't for the sexy and enchanting Li Jiumei sitting next to her, she would have given herself to him. An hour later, the plane landed at the Xiangdu City Airport in Xiangxi. The 3 of them left the airport and changed to a bus. Then they took a tractor for 2 hours. Near evening, they finally entered the territory of the Meng village in Xiangxi. Even so, if it was an ordinary person, they would have to walk for half a day. However, they were all martial artists, so they walked much faster than ordinary people. They could arrive in about an hour. The Meng village in Xiangxi was said to be the last pure land left by the devil Qiyu. The Miao people living here were all believers of Qiyu. Although this place was remote and inconvenient, the scenery was extremely beautiful. As the sun set in the west, the golden rays of the setting sun illuminated the enchanting scenery even more brilliantly. Qin Haodong enjoyed the surrounding scenery as he hurried along. The three brothers carried the luggage behind him, which was really a good feeling. In the golden sunlight, Li Jiumei was like a rose stained with golden light, looking more charming and moving. Qin Haodong looked back at the three brothers who were like monsters, and then looked at the woman beside him. He couldn't help but ask, "Are you sure you are siblings with them?" Li Jiumei glared at him and said, "What do you mean? I mean, isn't there a green hat on your father's head? Or should I say, 3 green hats?" "Nonsense." Li Jiumei pinched his waist hard and said, "That's impossible. Although we Miao women are affectionate, we are extremely infatuated. We only love one man in our life. It's impossible for us to have one-night stands like you city people. And we're not as fickle as you." Qin Haodong said embarrassedly, "I don't mean anything else. I just think that the appearance of you brother and sister is too different." Li Jiumei said, "What's so strange about that? I'm more beautiful after my mother, and the three of them are more rugged and strong after my father." Qin Haodong suddenly he said, "Have you ever thought about what would happen if you followed your father?" After that, he couldn't help imagining the appearance of the three brothers as a woman. He couldn't help but shiver. It was too scary. Li Jiumei said fiercely, "What else can I look like? I'll still push you down." Chapter 651. They walked very fast. Just as the sun was about to set, they could already see the smoke of the Hmong village in the distance. Seeing that she had returned to the place where she grew up, Li Jiumei said excitedly, "We're finally home." Qin Haodong said, "Is there any special custom in your village?" Li Jiumei said, "What do you mean?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "For example, a younger sister as a dowry." "You're dreaming." Li Jiumei glared at him and said, "Even if there is such a custom, I don't have a younger sister. I have 3. Do you want them?" The three brothers vaguely heard Li Jiumei mention them and immediately said in unison, "Sister, if you have any problems, just leave it to us. We can handle it." Qin Haodong quickly turned around and said, "It's okay, it's okay." Li Jiumei said with a smile, "Don't think too much. When we arrive at our village, many people will come to challenge you." "Challenge me? Why? Am I not a guest?" Li Jiumei said, "Because you married the most beautiful woman in our village. Of course other men are not convinced. According to the rules of our village, they can challenge you." Qin Haodong said, "What if I lose? Can they take you away? Didn't you say that the women of the Miao family will only marry one man in their life?" "Of course I won't snatch it away, but I can't avoid beating you up to vent my anger." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "Oh, can I break off the engagement?" Li Jiumei turned her head and looked at him and said, "In our village, there is no breaking off the engagement, only widowhood. Forget it. Aren't they just a few challengers? I can handle it." Qin Haodong was talking and laughing when his expression suddenly changed. He raised his hand and pulled Li Jiumei behind him. "What are you doing?" Li Jiumei was shocked by his sudden reaction. At this moment, a hoarse voice sounded beside her. "There's no need to challenge them. You must die now." Another voice shouted, "Little girl, it seems that you are destined to be a widow in this life." As they spoke, 4 figures rushed out of the dense forest around them and blocked their path. They were none other than the 4 great heavenly kings of the evil cult, who were defeated on Divine Dragon Island. Seeing that it was these people, Qin Haodong said, "It's you. You survived last time. How dare you come again?" Heavenly King Azure Dragon said angrily, "Brat, do you think I'll let you off just like that after injuring 2 of our demon sect's great elders? There's no such thing as that. You must die today." He gnashed his teeth in hatred. The last time he was struck by the divine thunder of the 9th heaven, although he did not suffer any internal injuries, his face was still black, and the muscles on his face twitched from time to time as he spoke. As the 4 heavenly kings of the demon sect, when had they ever suffered such humiliation? Therefore, after settling down the seriously injured 1,000-armed man and 100-faced evil king, The four brothers immediately came to take revenge. White Tiger Heavenly King also shouted, "Qin brat, this time we launched a surprise attack. We didn't give you a chance to set up the formation in advance. Let's see how you can fight against us four brothers." In the eyes of the four heavenly kings, the reason why the young man in front of them was able to defeat four level 9 supreme power masters was because of the divine thunder of the ninth heaven. It was not because of his personal strength at all. Because of this, they launched a surprise attack and did not give Qin Haodong a chance to set up the formation. In this way, they would win. While he was speaking proudly, suddenly there was a flash in front of him, and Qin Haodong's figure disappeared. Then a golden light pierced his throat. This White Tiger Heavenly King's eyes were full of fear. How could he die before he finished showing off? Qin Haodong's speed was too fast. How did he do it? As a cultivator, Qin Haodong was invincible in the case of the same level. If he faced a level 9 supreme power master, he was 100% sure that he could win. He could even fight against two. But now he was facing four level 9 supreme power masters at the same time. Once they attacked at the same time, or set up a joint attack formation, he had no chance of winning at all. Therefore, Qin Haodong took advantage of the opportunity when White Tiger Heavenly King was showing off to make a preemptive strike. He used the stealing divine legs to the extreme, and the Xian Yuan sword pierced his throat. It was a pity that a level 9 supreme power master did not even have the long sword on his back. He was cut down by the sword before he could even pull it out. The stealing divine legs was too fast. After killing White Tiger Heavenly King, Azure Dragon Heavenly King did not have time to react. The Xian Yuan sword drew a stream of light again and chopped at his head. Only then did Azure Dragon Heavenly King realize what had happened. The young man in front of him was not only good at formations, but his skills had also reached a shocking level. In a panic, he quickly raised the long saber in his hand to meet Qin Haodong's attack. But how could his long saber compete with the Xian Yuan sword? With a cracking sound, Qin Haodong cut his long saber in half. Then he chopped the Azure Dragon King in half. In front of the enemy, he did not hesitate at all. After killing two level 9 supreme power masters in succession, Vermilion Bird Heavenly King and Black Tortoise Heavenly King finally reacted. The two of them roared and waved the long sabers in their hands to attack. After killing two opponents unexpectedly, Qin Haodong breathed a sigh of relief. The remaining two people were much easier to deal with. The three of them fought together, and soon Qin Haodong completely gained the upper hand. With the advantage of his cultivation and the sharpness of the Xian Yuan sword, he suppressed the two of them tightly. The more the Vermilion Bird Heavenly King and the Black Tortoise Heavenly King fought, the more frightened they became. They did not expect that this young man's cultivation would be so powerful. If they had known this, they would not have come out to show off. They might have had a chance to win if they had directly surrounded them or launched a surprise attack. At least they would not have suffered such heavy casualties like now. However, it was useless to regret now. They could only try their best to find a way to save the situation. They looked at each other. The two of them had worked together for many years and had a good tacit understanding. Vermilion Bird Heavenly King raised his cultivation to the extreme and attacked Qin Haodong with the long saber in his hand like a storm. Black Tortoise Heavenly King suddenly left the battle circle and rushed to Li Jiumei next to him. They had already figured it out. If they did not capture this woman as a hostage, not to mention defeating Qin Haodong, they would even lose their lives. Capturing this woman was the only hope for them to survive. The brother and sister of the Li family were watching the battle. As warriors at the covert power level, they were shocked by the cultivation of these people in front of them. This kind of cultivation was simply like a god's. Masters at the level 9 of Supreme Power Realm only existed in legends. They had not even had the chance to meet them before, so they did not know what the cultivation of these people in front of them was. They only knew that they were much more powerful than them. Seeing that Black Tortoise Heavenly King was rushing over, the three brothers rushed up with a roar and protected Li Jiumei in front of her. However, Black Tortoise Heavenly King did not care about their cultivation. He gently waved his hand, and the fierce palm wind sent the three brothers flying more than 10 meters away, breaking countless trees. Li Jiumei had already seen through this guy's mind. She did not want to be a burden to Qin Haodong, so she turned around and wanted to run away. But the powerful momentum emitted by the 9th-level Supreme Power Master was so terrible that she could not move even if she wanted to. Seeing that the big hand covered with black hair was getting closer and closer, and was about to grab her neck, suddenly a golden light flashed, and the Xian Yuan sword directly penetrated the back of Black Tortoise Heavenly King's head. Poor Black Tortoise Heavenly King, he died with a grievance. He had thought that the Xian Yuan sword was a magic weapon, but he did not know that it was a flying sword. Qin Haodong took back the Xian Yuan sword and looked at the vermilion bird Heavenly King in front of him sarcastically. If the remaining two people worked together, it would be really difficult to kill them. It was a pity that Black Tortoise Heavenly King thought he was clever and divided the strength of the two people. In the end, he died. There was a flash of panic in the vermilion bird Heavenly King's eyes. He knew that he was no match for this young man in any case. He no longer had the courage to fight, so he turned around and ran away. His body movement was very fast, but unfortunately, no matter how fast he could not be faster than stealing divine legs. In a few breaths, Qin Haodong came behind him, and the Xian Yuan sword penetrated his chest. Putting away the Xian Yuan sword, he glanced at the 4 bodies on the ground and felt lucky in his heart. These 4 guys still liked to show off too much. They did not learn their lesson after being struck by lightning. If they had killed him, or directly taken Li Jiumei as a hostage, it would have been a big problem. Brother-in-law, you are really amazing. Brother-in-law, you are even more powerful than us 3 brothers. Why don't we accept you as our master? Yes, we brothers have to suffer a little. How about we accept you as our master, and teach us martial arts? Although the 3 brothers were not very smart, they also saw Qin Haodong's power. Just now, they were beaten like dogs by Black Tortoise Heavenly King, and Black Tortoise Heavenly King was beaten like a dog by Qin Haodong. This meant that there was a gap between them and Black Tortoise Heavenly King. Qin Haodong did not dare to accept the 3 brothers as his disciples. Otherwise, he would be driven to death by them sooner or later. Brothers, you are so wise and powerful. I dare not be your teacher. The 3 brothers still wanted to say something, but they were pushed aside by Li Jiumei. She said to Qin Haodong, "Who are these 4 people just now? Why did they attack you?" "Nothing, they are old enemies." Qin Haodong did not want her to get too involved, so he did not say much. Li Jiumei was smart and did not ask any more questions. The 3 brothers threw the bodies of several people at the bottom of the cliff, and then continued in the direction of the Hmong village. After this battle, it was already dark when they returned to the Hmong village. At night in the Hmong village of Xiangxi, there were big red lanterns hanging at the door of every household, which looked very festive. "Is there any happy event?" Qin Haodong asked in surprise. "Tomorrow is the day we open the Forbidden Area, which is the biggest happy event in our Hmong village. Generally, the day before the Forbidden Area is opened is the wedding day of the Holy Virgin, so it is naturally the most lively day in the Hmong village." While talking, they walked into the Hmong village, but what was strange was that the red lanterns were hanging, but the stone-paved street was extremely quiet. They did not see anyone along the way. Chapter 652. Qin Haodong asked, "Where are all of you? Today is a special day. Of course, everyone is at my house." After Li Jiumei finished speaking, they turned a corner and saw a tall main building in front of them. There was a sea of people in front of the main building. It was very lively. Sure enough, all the people of the Hmong village had gathered here. "Folks, we brought my sister back," Li Jiugao shouted excitedly. His loud voice caused the entire village to tremble. Hearing his shout, everyone looked over. They saw Li Jiumei walking in front of them, and Qin Haodong next to her. "The Holy Virgin is back. The Holy Virgin is back. She seems to be more beautiful than before. Who is the man next to the Holy Virgin? Is he the man chosen by the Holy Virgin? Didn't the chief say that he wanted Bear to be the man of the Holy Virgin? Why is there a bean sprout here all of a sudden?" Qin Haodong strode over and felt that countless eyes were focused on him. But he was also mentally prepared in advance. As the man of Li Jiumei, he would definitely become the focus of the whole Hmong village today. In the middle of the crowd was a sturdy old man. He was dressed in plain clothes and held a black walking stick in his hand. He looked to be in his 70s or 80s, but his eyes were very bright, as if he could see through a person's heart. He was the leader of the Hmong village, and Li Jiumei's grandfather Li Wangquan. There was also a middle-aged couple in their 50s standing next to Li Wangquan. The man was tall, and he was Li Jiumei's father. He looked almost the same as the three brothers, but he was a little older. He was Li Jiumei's father Li Longhai. The middle-aged woman next to him was Li Jiumei's mother Song Ying. Although she was dressed simply, she looked very charming and enchanting. Her eyebrows were very similar to Li Jiumei's. It seemed that Li Jiumei was right. Her father was not a cuckold, and her mother was indeed a great beauty. After seeing her family, Li Jiumei whispered in Qin Haodong's ear. Qin Haodong said, "Is your grandmother's surname Long? Is that why your father named her Li Longhai?" "Of course not," Li Jiumei said. "I heard that there was a man named Longhai who pursued grandma with grandpa. When he gave birth to father, grandpa named him Li Longhai." Oh, what a black-bellied old man. It seemed that he had to be more careful in the future, and not be fooled by his simple and honest appearance. As they spoke, they had already arrived in front of the old man. Li Jiumei rushed up to hold Li Wanquan's hand and shouted, "Grandpa, I'm back." "It's good that you're back." Li Wangquan kept his eyes on Qin Haodong and asked, "Who is this young man?" "This is my man Qin Haodong." Li Jiumei did not hesitate, and directly told him Qin Haodong's identity. As soon as she finished speaking, a strong young man rushed over. He stared at Qin Haodong fiercely and said, "Chief, didn't you say that you would marry Jiumei to me?" Why did you suddenly bring another man back? He was the bear that Li Jiumei had mentioned before. He was also a famous warrior in the entire Hmong village in Xiangxi. When he was 15 years old, he killed a black bear with his bare hands. Since then, people in the village had called him Bear. Before Li Wangquan could speak, Li Jiumei said, "On the day I became the Holy Virgin, Grandpa promised me that it's my own business to choose a man. No one can decide for me. I can choose whoever I want." Li Jiumei was the Holy Virgin of the Hmong village, and she had a high status, so Bear did not dare to say anything. He turned his head to look at Qin Haodong, and vented his anger on this young man, who looked like a bean sprout. "Boy, I want to challenge you." Song Ying pulled Li Jiumei to her side and whispered in her ear, "Daughter, the man you found is good-looking, but he's a little too weak. Do you want me to help you? Otherwise, if he's really broken, you won't be able to use him in the future." Li Jiumei said, "Mom, there's no need. If Bear wants to challenge me, let him do it. He won't learn his lesson if he doesn't suffer a little." At this time, the three brothers surrounded Bear in the middle. They grew up with Bear. Although this guy was very brave, his strength was not much worse than theirs. It was no different from looking for trouble to challenge Qin Haodong with his strength. After all, there was a gap between them and Qin Haodong. "Bear, forget it. My brother-in-law is very powerful. You'll be at a disadvantage if you fight with him." "Yes, Bear. Although my brother-in-law is a little worse than us, you can't beat him. Bear, we grew up together. Listen to me and don't try to be brave." The three brothers knew how powerful Qin Haodong was, so they tried their best to dissuade Bear. In Bear's opinion, these three guys were protecting their new brother-in-law. "You three, don't forget that we grew up together. How dare you help a stranger instead of me? I don't know you from now on." Bear despised the three brothers angrily. Then he took off his shirt, revealing his muscles that were as hard as stone. He pointed at Qin Haodong and shouted, "Boy, do you dare to fight with me?" The three brothers shook their heads, turned around, ran into the room, and took out the medicine box at home. They were preparing this for Big Bear. But in the eyes of others, these three guys were preparing to treat their brother-in-law's injury. Li Wangquan did not speak. He just sat there happily and watched. Bear's behavior did not violate the rules of the Hmong village. Young people should have this kind of courage. It was okay as long as they did not kill anyone. At the same time, He also turned his eyes to Qin Haodong. He did not know what kind of man his proud granddaughter had found. Was he a good-looking vase, or was he really capable? Qin Haodong glanced at Bear and said, "We're all from the same village. Fighting and killing will hurt the harmony. I think we'd better forget it." Bear widened his eyes and shouted, "Don't you dare to fight? If you don't dare to, get out of the Hmong village. We don't welcome cowards here." Seeing that their goddess was taken away by a boy toy, the other young people were also quite indignant. They all shouted, "Yes, the Hmong village doesn't welcome cowards. If you don't dare to fight, get out of here." Seeing that he could not refuse, Qin Haodong turned to Li Jiumei and said, "Then I'll start." Li Jiumei nodded and said, "My brother has prepared the medicine box. Don't hit him too hard." "Got it." Qin Haodong could see that the people of the Hmong village respected warriors. If he kept being modest, he would only be regarded as a coward. He stepped in front of Bear and said, "You can start now. You're a guest. I'll let you make 3 moves first." Bear raised his hand and pounded his solid chest. He roared wildly, "Come on, hit me." The 3 brothers all covered their eyes and did not dare to look directly at him. Li Jishui pulled over another iron basin. Li Jiugao asked, "Third brother, what are you doing?" Li Jishui said, "This guy will definitely vomit blood later. Catch him with a basin, otherwise it will be too wasteful." Seeing that the bear insisted on fighting with him, Qin Haodong shook his head and poked him in the chest with a finger. In the eyes of others, his finger was just like a child's joke. It was light and did not have much strength at all. Just when the onlookers were about to laugh at him, they suddenly saw Bear's body fly more than 10 meters away, as if he had been shot by a cannonball. He hit a big tree behind him with a bang, and then fell to the ground. His face was covered with dirt and his nose was swollen. Fortunately, Qin Haodong just wanted to teach him a lesson, so he did not use too much strength. Bear only suffered some superficial injuries, which were nothing for a strong man like him. He got up from the ground and let out a beast-like roar. He swung his fist, which was as big as a casserole, and rushed toward Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong did not dodge at all, and let Bear hit him in the chest. The crowd immediately let out a cry of surprise. They all knew Big Bear's strength. This guy had once killed a mad bull with 1 punch. The young man in front of them was so small that he might be directly broken by this punch. Maybe he would really die. But just when people were worried, they saw that Qin Haodong's body did not move at all, while Bear flew out as if he had been hit hard, and hit the big tree behind him again. The 3 brothers could not help shaking their heads. They once again confirmed that there was indeed a gap between them and Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong stepped in front of him and asked with a smile, "What do you think? Do you still want to fight?" Bear was completely dumbfounded. He had never seen such a strong opponent in his life. He could not even withstand 1 finger of Qin Haodong. "I'm convinced." He was a straightforward person. He had thought that Qin Haodong was not worthy of the Holy Virgin of their Hmong village, so he stood up to challenge him. Now he had seen Qin Haodong's ability and was completely convinced. The onlookers finally saw how powerful the man the Holy Virgin found was. For a moment there was a lot of cheering and shouting. Li Wangquan stood up and looked at Qin Haodong with satisfaction. He said, "Is there anyone else who wants to challenge?" Seeing that Bear was no match for him, the young people in the village naturally did not dare to stand up to challenge him. Li Wangquan said, "Since everyone has no objection, let's start drinking." Tables of banquets had been prepared in the Hmong village, waiting for Li Jiumei and the others to come back. At the order of the chief, all the people of the Hmong village sat at the table. Li Jiumei took Qin Haodong and her family to sit at the same table. The dishes on the table were very sumptuous, all of which were delicious in the mountains. Qin Haodong was indeed a little hungry after a day's journey, but before he picked up his chopsticks, Bear came over with a wine jar. "Warrior, have a taste of the special wine of our Hmong village. Let's get drunk today." The guy's meaning was obvious. Since he could not beat him, he would make him drunk. Chapter 653. Li Jiumei naturally knew what he was thinking. She did not know how much Qin Haodong could drink, so she said worriedly, Haodong, the wine in our village has a strong after-effect. Don't drink so much if you can't handle it. The three brothers seemed to have finally found the shortcomings of their brother-in-law. Li Jiugao hurriedly cried, "No, no, today is a big day. All men should drink. Not only should we drink, but we should also drink to our heart's content." "That's right. Let's drink to our heart's content today," Qin Haodong said as he pulled a jar of wine next to him. He directly removed the seal, picked it up and poured it into his mouth like a whale sucking water. In the blink of an eye, he finished the 5 liters of wine in front of many astonished eyes. With a 100% would attribute physique, this wine was no different from water to him. "Good. No wonder you're the man chosen by the Holy Virgin. He's a good drinker. He's a good man." The people of the Hmong village were simple and honest. They respected capable people, and those who could drink well. Qin Haodong's performance had completely won the approval of everyone present. After drinking up the wine, he directly turned the jar over and said to Bear, "Brother, I'll drink first. Now it's your turn." Bear came over with the jar of wine. Originally, he wanted to pour wine for everyone, but he did not expect that Qin Haodong would drink it himself. He had never seen or heard of such a drinking capacity. He was a forthright person. Since Qin Haodong had drunk up a jar of wine, he naturally did not show weakness. He directly picked up the jar and drank. However, the pure grain wine brewed by the Hmong stockade village tasted good, but the after-effect was too great. Before he could finish the jar of wine, he fell to the ground with a plop, completely drunk and unconscious. Li Jiugao waved his hand, and someone immediately came to carry Bear back. He looked at Qin Haodong, and was more and more satisfied with his grandson-in-law. After drinking Big Bear down, Qin Haodong opened another jar of wine, picked it up and said to the 3 brothers, "Brothers just said that we must drink to our heart's content, and have a good time. I'll drink this jar of wine first to show my respect." After saying that, he drank the entire jar of wine. The eyes of the 3 brothers almost popped out of their sockets. If they hadn't seen the wine that Qin Haodong had just opened, they would have thought that the jar was filled with water instead of wine. Although they were good drinkers, each of them could only drink 1 or 2 liters. If they really drank the wine in their hands, the consequences would not be much better than Big Bear. Li Jiugao quickly said, "Brother-in-law, you have a good alcohol tolerance, but we are family. There is no need to drink like this." Li Jiufu quickly put down the wine jar in his hand and said with a smile, "Yes, brother-in-law, hurry up and eat." Li Jishui said, "Grandpa taught us to drink less wine and eat more food since we were young. Although we are all men, drinking a little is enough." Seeing that her son was scared, Songying said to Qin Haodong, "Young man, you've been on the road for a day. Eat something." The more she looked at her son-in-law, the more she liked him. At the same time, she was full of curiosity. After drinking 2 jars of wine, his face did not turn red, and his heart did not beat fast. It was not much different from not drinking at all. How good was his drinking capacity? After seeing Qin Haodong's unrestrained drinking capacity, the other young people in the Hmong village no longer dared to provoke him. The meal was quite peaceful. After the meal, Li Wangquan called Qin Haodong to his room. "Young man, sit down." Li Wangquan asked Qin Haodong to sit down and said, "Little Qin, what do you do?" "I am a Chinese medicine practitioner." While speaking, Qin Haodong also looked at the old man opposite him. Li Wanquan's cultivation had reached the 9th level of covert power. It seemed that he had been in this realm for a long time. Li Wangquan asked again, "Little Qin, have you practiced martial arts?" "A few days." Li Wangquan asked, "Have you reached the level of supreme power?" Qin Haodong nodded. In line with the principle of keeping a low profile, he did not say that he was a level 9 supreme power master. Li Wangquan did not continue this topic. He said, "Did Jume tell you about the opening of the forbidden area tomorrow?" Qin Haodong said, "Yes, she told me." "Then you have to be prepared. You and Jume are the hope of our entire Hmong village. The descendants of our Jili tribe have been waiting for thousands of years, but we still haven't been able to open the forbidden area." "Oh, okay," Qin Haodong answered vaguely. Suddenly, he realized something and said, "Grandpa, Isn't it Jumei's business to open the forbidden area? What does it have to do with me? Why do I need to prepare for it? Li Wangquan was slightly stunned. Didn't Jumei tell you? Qin Haodong immediately felt that something was wrong. He said, no, she just said that her blood is needed to open the forbidden area. She didn't say that it has anything to do with me. It seems that she didn't tell you the whole truth. Let me tell you, Li Wangquan said. To open the forbidden area, the blood of the Holy Virgin alone is not enough. We also need the blood of the Divine Son. Divine Son? Who is the Divine Son? Qin Haodong asked in surprise. Of course it's you. As the man of the Holy Virgin, you are the Divine Son chosen by our Hmong village. Li Wangquan said. According to the records of our ancestors, the blood of the Holy Virgin and the Divine Son is needed to open the forbidden area. Once it is opened, you also need to enter the forbidden area together to obtain the inheritance of the Jili tribe. This girl hid so many things from me. It seems that I have to spank her when I go back. Qin Haodong thought to himself, but he also understood Li Jumei's thoughts. After all, the time they spent together was very short and very rushed. The process was a little special. She must be afraid that he would not come to the Hmong village with her after she told him these things. Grandpa, how should I open the forbidden area? He was afraid that Li Jumei also lied about this. If it was not 3 drops of blood, but 3 liters of blood, then he would really be drained and become a sacrifice. Li Wangquan told him the method of opening the forbidden area again. The rest was exactly the same as what Li Jumei said. She did not lie to him. After that, he suddenly threw away his crutch and knelt in front of Qin Haodong. Little Qin, on behalf of tens of thousands of people in the Hmong village, I beg you to help us open the forbidden area and get the inheritance of Qiyu. Qin Haodong was shocked and quickly reached out to help the old man up. What do you mean, Mr. Li? Let's talk about it, Li Wangquan said excitedly. Our Jili tribe is the descendant of Qiyu, but the inheritance of Qiyu is locked in the forbidden area. For thousands of years, we have tried countless times according to the method of inheritance, but in the end, we can't open the forbidden area and get the inheritance of the great God, which leads to the decline of our Jili tribe. In terms of cultivation, we only have some scattered cultivation methods. At most, we can cultivate to the 9th level of covert power. Because of the lack of cultivation methods, we can't make any further progress. Now what we can barely use is the voodoo and some methods of using poison. But these are just a drop in the ocean among Qiyu's supernatural abilities. It's far from enough. If we want to revitalize our Jili tribe, we can only open the forbidden area and get the inheritance. I know you don't belong to our Jili tribe, and Jumei must have used some dirty tricks on you. But as the patriarch of the Jili tribe, I beg you to help us open the forbidden area, and help us this time. In the future, you will be a great benefactor of our Jili tribe. Old man, don't worry. I will definitely help you if I can. Qin Haodong was a very responsible man. Since he had become Li Jumei's lover, he was willing to help her tribe. Li Wangquan said gratefully, "Thank you, young man. Thank you so much. But we don't know what the forbidden area looks like, and whether it is dangerous or not. For thousands of years, no one has ever entered it. It's nothing. I will definitely bring Jumei out safely." When Qin Haodong was in the cultivation world, he had visited famous mountains and ancient relics everywhere. With his current cultivation, he did not care too much about danger. He said again, "But I don't quite understand. This is the forbidden area of your Jili tribe. Why do you let me, an outsider, go in?" Li Wangquan said, "According to the ancient records of our Jili tribe, if we want to open the forbidden area, we must use the blood of the Holy Virgin and the Divine Son. But there is no too much explanation about the Divine Son. In the past years, we have been selecting the Divine Son from our tribe, but for so many years, we have not succeeded once. This time, I will take a risk and let Jumei enter the outside world. If she is fated to marry, we will choose a Divine Son from outside. If not, we will continue to select from our tribe. I didn't expect that Jumei would bring you back. I feel that you are better than any previous Divine Son. Maybe the opportunity to open the forbidden area has finally come. Grandpa, if possible, I will do my best to help the Zhuli tribe open the forbidden area. Qin Haodong had obtained the Xian Yuan sword, which meant that he had obtained the inheritance of the Yellow Emperor. This also made him full of curiosity about Qiyu, the ancient god, and he did not know what he had left for his descendants. After chatting for a while, Li Wangquan told him all the matters about opening the forbidden area and asked someone to send him back to his room. After entering the room, he locked the door and saw Li Jiumei sitting on the bed, looking at him pitifully. She said like a good girl, "I told you everything. You told me everything. How dare you lie to me? I will spank you." After that, Qin Haodong pulled Li Jiumei over and raised his hand to slap her on the butt. With a crisp sound, the atmosphere in the room seemed to be a little ambiguous. Li Jiumei said, "In fact, I didn't mean to lie to you. I was afraid that you would be scared and would not dare to come to the Hmong village with me. I know that there may be dangers in the forbidden area, so I didn't intend to let you go with me. As long as you help me open the forbidden area, I will go in alone." Feeling the sincerity in her words, Qin Haodong kissed her on the cheek and said, "Silly girl, since you are my woman, I have the responsibility to protect your safety. How can I let you go in alone?" Chapter 654. Looking at the sincere and handsome face in front of her, Li Jiumei knew that she had made the right choice this time. She did not waste those bags of enchantment. "Haodong, I'm so touched by what you said," Li Jiumei said, and put her white arms around Qin Haodong's neck. She said coquettishly, "But you just hurt me. Now I need you to compensate me." After a night of torment, the sun was already high in the sky when they got up the next day. The golden sun shrouded the whole village, which looked solemn and sacred. After breakfast, everyone busied themselves with preparing for tonight's sacrificial ceremony. Only Qin Haodong was idle. He went out for a walk and enjoyed the scenery of the Hmong village. The scenery here was beautiful, and he enjoyed the original scenery very much. Near dusk, the chief Li Wangquan selected 100 villagers from the Hmong village. Everyone brought all kinds of sacrificial supplies and rushed to the back mountain together. As the Holy Virgin and Divine Son of the Hmong village, Qin Haodong and Li Jiumei were indispensable in this sacrifice. In addition to them, other people of the Li family also participated in this sacrifice, including the three brothers. The sacred mountain for the sacrifice was behind the Hmong village. There was an ancient temple on the top of the mountain. The statue of Qiyu was enshrined in the temple, which was the belief of all the people of the Hmong village in Xiangxi. In front of the temple, Li Wangquan led all the clansmen to carry out the complicated worship. When they finished these rituals, the sun had already set, and the whole mountain was slowly swallowed by darkness. The clansmen of the Hmong village lit the torches that they had prepared, and then walked to the back mountain of the temple. This was the most crucial place today, the forbidden area of the Qiyu tribe. There were no walls or guards here, but no one dared to step into it. If anyone dared to step into the forbidden area, they would be burned by fire. The terrain here was also very strange. A flat land of nearly 100 square meters suddenly appeared on the rugged mountain. In the center of the flat land stood a statue of a monster. Qin Haodong took Jumei's hand, and the two of them came to the front of the monster statue. This monster that they had never seen before looked extremely fierce. Although they knew that it was just a stone statue, it gave people a great sense of oppression, as if it could choose to eat people at any time. Li Wangquan led his clansmen to kowtow to the monster, and then said to Qin Haodong and Li Wangquan, "Use your blood to open the forbidden area." After he finished speaking, all the clansmen fixed their eyes on the two of them. At this moment, the Divine Son and the Saintess were the hope of the entire Zhuli tribe. Li Jiumei took out a silver knife that she had prepared a long time ago, and cut her and Qin Haodong's index fingers. They each dripped 3 drops of blood into the monster's mouth. Speaking of which, it was strange. Originally, the monster was just a stone statue, but when the blood dripped into its mouth, it slowly seeped into the stone and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Everyone became nervous and stared at the stone statue in front of them. Li Wanchuan's family was even more nervous. The entire Jili tribe had been waiting here for thousands of years, but they still did not get the inheritance. They did not know if they could persuade Qiyu to open the forbidden area today. 1 second, 2 seconds. Time passed little by little, but there was still no reaction from the stone statue. There was a flash of disappointment in Li Wanchuan's eyes. Could it be that they failed again this time? If they wanted to open the forbidden area again, they could only wait for another 20 years. Just when everyone's heart was about to sink, suddenly a dazzling light flashed in the eyes of the monster statue. And then there was a roar. And then it suddenly rotated 180 degrees. As the monster statue rotated, a big hole of 5 meters square appeared in the mountain behind it. Qiyu the great god, the forbidden area is finally open. Seeing everything in front of him, Li Wanquan was so excited that he burst into tears. He knelt down in front of the stone statue and repeatedly kowtowed to the forbidden area. Behind him, the clansmen also knelt down, one by one crying. After waiting for thousands of years, they could finally get the inheritance of Qiyu. Li Jiumei also looked very excited. She took Qin Haodong's hand and said, "Let's go in." Although she did not know what was going on in the forbidden area, as the holy virgin of the tribe, she had to do something for the tribe. At this moment, Qin Haodong's expression suddenly changed, and he turned his head to look at the darkness beside him. "Someone is coming." Hearing his words, Li Wanquan and the others showed a surprised look. This was the forbidden area. Except for the order of the patriarch, no one was allowed to enter. Why would someone come at this time? At this moment, a group of black-clothed men suddenly appeared in everyone's line of sight. These people were wrapped tightly from head to toe. Their faces were covered with scarves, and they held long swords in their hands. Without a single sound, they charged towards the group. "Oh no, it's an enemy attack. Guard the forbidden area." Li Wanquan immediately realized that these were not people of their tribe, but invading enemies. For the opening of the forbidden area this time, the entire Hmong village had made sufficient preparations, including resisting the invasion of foreign enemies. The 100 selected clansmen were all warriors above the covert power level, and they also carried Hmong on their backs. Swords. After receiving the order from their leader, these people all drew out their swords. The saber slashed towards the black-robed men. Very quickly, the two sides clashed and clashed. There were about 40 to 50 men in black who suddenly attacked. Although the number was less than half of the people of the Hmong village, these people were all very strong, and almost all of them had reached the 9th level of the covert power. Not only did they not suffer any losses, but they also had an absolute advantage. Especially the leader of the men in black. It seemed that his combat strength had reached the supreme power level. The Japanese swords in his hands were extremely fierce. No matter who the Hmong village's swords were, they would be cut into 2 pieces. In such a short time, 3 or 4 clansmen of the Hmong village had been injured by his swords. Li Jiumei's face was extremely gloomy and she said angrily, "These are the Japanese. What are they doing in our Hmong village?" Qin Haodong also frowned slightly. Although these people were dressed as ninjas, he could see that they were not ninjas from Neon. At the same time, he felt very strange. These people were obviously very strong, and the weakest one was at the level of the covert power. However, his spirit could not perceive their cultivation. He could not even feel the aura and the flow of genuine qi of any warrior. Seeing that his clansmen were injured, Li Wanquan roared and held the Japanese swords in his hands. The swords in his hands were aimed at the leader of the men in black. Although his cultivation had reached the 9th level of the covert power, the opponent's combat strength was at the supreme power level. The Japanese swords in his hands drew a stream of light and chopped at Li Wanquan's head. Feeling the opponent's strength, Li Wanquan tried his best to wave the Japanese swords in his hands. The Japanese swords in his hands were not ordinary. The saber was not an ordinary item. It did not break, but the huge force shook his hands until they were numb, and he almost broke the saber. The Japanese swords fell to the ground. The man in black did not stop. He waved the Japanese swords in his hands and directly stabbed at Li Wanquan's throat. The Japanese swords in Li Wanquan's hands were still in the air. His arms were numb, so he had no time to defend himself. The Japanese swords were about to pierce through his throat. He thought that he was finished. He closed his eyes, but there was no pain in his neck. Instead, he heard a scream. When he opened his eyes, he saw that the man in black's arms had fallen to the ground together with the Japanese swords. His legs had also been cut in two. He did not know when Qin Haodong was standing beside him. Keep this man alive. Qin Haodong did not know when the forbidden area would close, so he did not stop. He used the sky-stealing leg skill, and the Xian Yuan sword in his hand was like a bolt of lightning, constantly devouring the lives of the men in black. In less than 2 minutes, these men in black were either dead or injured. All of them had lost their combat strength. Seeing that his clansmen were out of danger, Li Wangquan shouted anxiously, "Little Qin, take Jiumei into the forbidden area, or it will be too late." They had no experience in opening the forbidden area, so they did not know how long the cave could remain open. Once it was closed, they would have to wait for another 20 years. Moreover, no one knew whether the next Divine Son and Holy Virgin could be recognized by this monster stone statue. Qin Haodong also knew that the situation was urgent. His figure flashed, and he rushed into the cave with Li Jiumei. As soon as they entered, the cave behind them slowly closed. This was a downward cave. There were stone steps under their feet. Although the cave had been closed, it did not feel dark here. As far as the eye could see, there was a pearl inlaid not far from the top of the cave, emitting a soft light. Is this a night luminescent pearl? Qin Haodong was shocked. The pearl was definitely a rare treasure. As long as he took out one, it would be a great fortune. If he took so many night luminescent pearls outside, he would be rich enough to rival a country. He gently jumped to the top of the cave and reached out to grab the pearl. He did not expect that the pearl was tightly inlaid on the top of the cave, as if it was sealed there by some mysterious force. If he wanted to take it out, he might have to use the Xian Yuan sword to break it. But at such a close distance, he was sure that the pearl in front of him was a night luminescent pearl. Li Jiumei hurriedly shouted, "Don't move. This is the holy land of Qiyu. It's disrespectful to him." "Well, let's go inside and have a look." Qin Haodong was not a greedy person. He was just curious. He took Li Jiumei and walked into the cave. They walked down the stone steps step by step. The cave was very long, and after a few turns, their eyes suddenly widened. A solemn and simple hall appeared in front of them, looking extremely majestic. Facing this magnificent hall, the two of them suddenly felt a kind of ancient desolation. They walked in and saw an extremely tall statue in the center of the hall. Although it was just a statue, it gave off an immense pressure. This kind of pressure was thousands of times stronger than the stone beast on top. There were many other statues on both sides of the stone statue. They were in various postures and holding various weapons in their hands. "This is Qiyu." After Li Jiumei finished speaking, she knelt on the ground and bowed. At this moment, a tiger's roar rang out as a gigantic white tiger appeared before the two of them. Chapter 655. This white tiger was much larger than an ordinary tiger. Its body was almost transparent, and it was 6 or 7 meters long from head to tail. It looked extremely fierce. Why is there a tiger here? Qin Haodong didn't have time to think too much. He pulled Li Jiumei and retreated. Ow! 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 The big white tiger let out a deafening roar. Then, with a leap, it pounced towards the two of them like a bolt of lightning. Not only was this guy huge, but he was also terrifyingly fast. "Kill!" Qin Haodong also shouted angrily and stabbed the white tiger with the Xian Yuan sword in his hand. Ding! The Xian Yuan sword stabbed the white tiger's forehead, but it didn't hurt the white tiger at all. Instead, it made Qin Haodong's wrist numb. He was greatly shocked. Could it be that this white tiger had already cultivated to become a spirit? Why was its body even harder than metal? But at this moment, the white tiger left him and rushed to Li Jiumei next to him. The white tiger was so fast that Li Jiumei couldn't dodge it at all. Qin Haodong's expression changed greatly. The Xian Yuan sword drew a stream of light and slashed at the white tiger's waist. Ding! The Xian Yuan sword was shaken and flew back again, But the white tiger did not stop and rushed to Li Jiumei. Its big mouth was already close to her. "Beast, how dare you!" Qin Haodong's eyes were bloodshot. He didn't have time to catch the Xian Yuan sword. He used his stealing divine legs and kicked the white tiger's big head. In order to save him, he had already used all the power in his body. However, to his surprise, he had kicked empty air. The white tiger had already disappeared. Qin Haodong quickly stopped and looked back. The white tiger had indeed disappeared, and a knife was floating in front of Li Jiumei. The knife was about 5 feet long, and the handle was about 1 foot long. It was covered with spiral patterns, and looked like a tiger's tail. The handguard in front was like a tiger's claw. The knife was about 4 feet long, and its whole body was almost transparent. There were bone spurs inside. "What's this?" Although Qin Haodong didn't understand how the white tiger suddenly turned into a knife, he could feel the huge pressure emitted by the knife. It was not inferior to the Xian Yuan sword at all. At this time Li Jiumei exclaimed, "The Tiger Soul Saber. This is Chiyo's Tiger Soul Saber." Only then did Qin Haodong realize that the white tiger was as hard as iron. It turned out that it was transformed from the amber knife. Legend has it that the Tiger Soul Saber was the weapon used by the god of war, Chiyu, to fight against the Yellow Emperor. The Yellow Emperor had the help of the mysterious Maiden of the Nine Heavens, and Chiyu was no match for him. Thus he fed a meteorite from outer space to his mount, the war tiger. As a result, the meteorite from outer space and the bloodline of the divine tiger fused together to form a shocking divine weapon, which was the Tiger's Soul Saber. Qin Haodong didn't expect to see this magic weapon again. He reached out to grab the handle of the Tiger's Soul Saber, but the Tiger's Soul Saber slid to the side as if it had a mind of its own, making him grab nothing. He suddenly realized something and said to Li Jiumei, "This is the sacred object of your Jili tribe. Try it and see if you can catch it." Li Jiumei nodded and slowly reached out to grab the handle of the Tiger's Soul Saber. This time, the Tiger's Soul Saber did not dodge, but stayed there quietly, as if waiting for its master. She immediately felt the power of the Tiger's Soul Saber when she grabbed the handle of the saber. The whole saber exuded a shocking murderous aura, like a fierce tiger choosing people to eat. Qin Haodong said, "I see. The Tiger's Soul Saber was left here by Chiyu to guard the temple. Just now, he found that you have the blood of the Jili tribe, so he stopped attacking. If it were an outsider, he would have been killed by the saber." "Thank you, Master Chiyu." Li Jiumei knelt down again and kowtowed to the statue of Chiyu. Qin Haodong said, "Try it and see if you can make the Tiger's Soul Saber recognize you as its master." After that, he told her how to make the saber recognize her as its master. Li Jiumei pricked her index finger, and a drop of blood fell on the Tiger's Soul Saber. The drop of blood was like a drop of water on a sponge, quickly disappearing. Then the Tiger's Soul Saber shook and suddenly disappeared into Li Jiumei's body. Both of them were delighted. It was a worthwhile trip to get the peerless divine weapon, the Tiger's Soul Saber. At this moment, a huge figure suddenly appeared in front of the temple. This figure was exactly the same as the statue of Chiyu next to it. It was the ancient god of war Chiyu. Although Qin Haodong could see that it was only a remnant soul left by Chiyu, he could still feel his strength and his domineering momentum. It could be seen what kind of existence Chiyu was in the past. Li Jiumei did not expect that the god she believed in would appear in front of her. She was slightly stunned at first, and then she knelt on the ground. Li Jiumei of the Jili tribe greets Master Chiyu. Junior Qin Haodong greets Master Chiyu. Chiyu glanced at Li Jiumei and Qin Haodong, and a powerful voice sounded in their minds. "Get up, my child." Li Jiumei slowly stood up, and her expression was still extremely respectful. She turned to look at Qin Haodong and said, "I feel the aura of the Xian Yuan sword. Little fellow, are you a descendant of the Yellow Emperor?" There was no doubt that all the Huaxia people were descendants of the Yellow Emperor. However, it was said that Chiyu was killed by the Yellow Emperor, so the hatred between them was as deep as the sea. This made Qin Haodong quite nervous. He did not know if the divine thought left by Chiyu would suddenly go berserk. He said cautiously, "I'm indeed a descendant of the Yellow Emperor. I got the Xian Yuan sword by chance." Unexpectedly, Qiyu did not show any dissatisfaction. On the contrary, he nodded and said with a face of approval, "You can unlock the seal outside the Xian Yuan sword. It can be seen that you are indeed extraordinary." Qin Haodong's heart skipped a beat, and he asked, "Master Qiyu, you know that the Xian Yuan sword was sealed. Did you seal it?" Qiyu shook his head and said, "How could I seal the Xian Yuan sword? It was done by the alien demon." "The alien demon? What's that?" Qin Haodong was surprised. He had never heard of the alien demon in ancient times. "Let's not talk about it now. I'll tell you later." Qiyu said, "You two little guys, tell me, what is the story about me and the Yellow Emperor now?" Qin Haodong did not know why he asked this, so he told them the story, including the legend of the battle between the Yellow Emperor and Qiyu, how the Yellow Emperor cut off Qiyu's head with the Xian Yuan sword, and buried his body and head in 2 different places. After listening to him, Qiyu sighed and said, "As I expected, the descendants were still fooled by the tricks of the alien demon." Qin Haodong asked doubtfully, "Master Qiyu, is the legend wrong? Didn't you die in the hands of the Yellow Emperor?" "Not only is it wrong, but it's also wrong," Qiyu said. "The Yellow Emperor and I fought side by side against the alien demon. How could I die in his hands?" Qin Haodong finally understood why Qiyu was not angry at all after hearing that he was a descendant of the Yellow Emperor. On the contrary, he was extremely friendly. It turned out that the hatred between the two was not as deep as the legend said. But what was the truth? Where did the alien demon come from? Where were they now? This made him have countless questions in his heart. Li Jiumei also thought so. In the inheritance of the Zhuli tribe, the Yellow Emperor had always been the great enemy of the Zhuli tribe, because he killed their ancestor Qiyu. She did not expect that Qiyu's words would subvert their understanding. Qin Haodong asked, "Master Qiyu, what's going on? What happened back then?" Qiyu said, "In those days the Yellow Emperor and I each led a tribe. Although we were not friends, there was no big conflict between us. Even if there were some conflicts between the tribes, it was within a very small scope. We were not enemies of life and death, so there was no need to start a war. The so-called Battle of Zhuulu was not a thing. Originally, our 2 tribes lived our own lives and didn't have much interaction with each other. Until one day, the space of this realm was suddenly torn apart by the alien demons." Li Jiumei asked, "What is the alien demon?" Qiyu said, "They are creatures living in another realm. I don't know how they tore the barrier between space and ran to our divine land one by one. These alien demons are extremely fierce. Although there are not many of them, they burn, kill, loot, and kill living creatures. They want to kill all of us and then occupy this realm." In the face of the foreign invasion, the Yellow Emperor and I naturally could not sit back and do nothing. The 2 of us joined forces to fight against the enemy. After paying a great price, we finally repaired the torn space. After repairing the space, the next step is to fight against the alien demons who have traveled through time. We want to eradicate these foreign races who have harmed living creatures. And these alien demons want to kill us, and then open the space again, so that their clansmen can come to this realm. So it is not a hatred between 1 or 2 people, but a war to the death. The leader of the alien demons is the alien demon emperor. Originally, his cultivation was not much lower than the Yellow Emperor and I, but in the process of repairing the space, we consumed a lot of energy and couldn't restore our cultivation in a short time. In order to protect our clansmen, we can't retreat. The Yellow Emperor and I joined forces to fight against the alien demon emperor. The Yellow Emperor hurt the alien demon emperor seriously, but he was also killed by the alien demon emperor. At the same time, the Xian Yuan sword was sealed. Qin Haodong finally understood why the power that sealed the Xian Yuan sword was so strange. He had never seen it before. It turned out that the seal was left by the alien demon emperor, and it belonged to the power from a different space. Qiyu continued, "The alien demon emperor not only has a high cultivation, but he is also extremely cunning. He knew that the alien demons who have traveled through time could not fight against us, so he used a vicious plan to sow discord. After killing the Yellow Emperor, he turned into the Yellow Emperor and fought with me, which caused a misunderstanding among other tribes. They thought that the Yellow Emperor and I became enemies. This is the source of the legend of your later generations. Li Jiumei could not help asking. What happened next? Is the alien demon emperor dead? Chapter 656. Qiyu said. After the alien demon emperor was severely injured by the Yellow Emperor, his strength was greatly reduced. We fought for 7 days and 7 nights. In the end, he cut off my head and I pierced his heart. We died together. Qin Haodong was secretly shocked. It turned out that the ancient war was completely different from what had been told. But it was even more tragic. Qiyu raised his head and heaved a long sigh. That war back then was extremely tragic. On our side Xing Tian, Hutu Gonggong Zhuronging Long Nuba. Countless powerful cultivators paid with their lives. Li Jiumei asked. What about the invading alien demons? Have they all been killed? Qiyu said. There were many alien demons who crossed over. Although we killed the alien demon emperor and the main force, there were still some who escaped. These remnants are hiding in the dark, waiting for an opportunity to tear open the space again and release their clansmen from another world to invade our divine land. The alien demons have not been eliminated yet. That's why I left a remnant soul and gathered you here. Qin Haodong asked. It has been 5,000 years since the ancient war, but there has been no news of the alien demons. Is it possible that they are all dead? Qiyu shook his head and said, That's impossible. The alien demons are extremely strong. Although I don't know the specific situation, I guess they have a very long life. It's possible that they can live for hundreds or even thousands of years. Moreover, the alien demons are proficient in the art of transformation, and they can transform into the appearance of humans to survive and reproduce. Although I was killed by the alien demon emperor, my divine soul still existed for a period of time. I once made a divination for the descendants of the human clan. The divination shows that there will be a great disaster for the human clan in 5,000 years. It should be related to the alien demons. Qin Haodong had to face it seriously, because it was related to the life and death of the entire human clan. He asked, Master Qiyu, what can we do to solve this disaster? I don't know what the remnants of the alien demons will do, but there are 2 things you must do. First, hurry up and develop the strength of the human clan. Improve your cultivation and prepare to fight against the alien demons. Second, get rid of the estrangement and unite as one. We can't let the alien demon emperor succeed. Don't let the descendants of the Jili tribe and the descendants of the Yellow Emperor become enemies. Qiyu said, The legends you told me before have been spread among the human clan for a long time, and they have a deep influence. Even the descendants of the Yellow Emperor wouldn't believe what I just told you, if only the descendants of the Jili tribe were to spread the news. Because of this, when I left behind this inheritance, I set the opening method to be opened by the saintess of the Jili tribe and the divine son with the bloodline of the Yellow Emperor. Jili tribe, and you belong to 2 clans, Jili clan, Jili Jio. Jili Jio, you said. Demons Li. Alien clan you, alien demons, Li and Ji Emperor Li. You, Li said. Demon Li, you, is. Qin. Out. Yang. How can we find them? Qin Haodong asked. Qiyu said. The aura of the alien demons is very similar to the seal on your Xian Yuan sword. But if they try their best to hide, it will be difficult to find them. The best way is to hurry up and improve the strength of the human clan. According to my calculation, it is not long before the alien demons attack. You must hurry up and get ready, Li Jiumei said. Master Qiyu, the Jili tribe is declining because of the lack of your inheritance. Please give us your divine skills. Qiyu said, I've said everything I need to say. Now I'll help you improve your cultivation with the soul I've saved. At the same time, I'll pass on the magic arts of the Jili tribe to you. You'll be responsible for passing it on to other clans. After that, his tall figure suddenly shrank and finally turned into a light spot. He disappeared into Li Jiumei's Naiwan palace. Li Jiumei sat cross-legged on the ground, and suddenly there were many things in her mind. It was the inheritance of Qiyu. Tactics of God of War. This was the cultivation method that Qiyu had practiced in the past. According to the route of the tactics of God of War, she slowly ran her power and began to absorb the power of Qiyu's soul. Qin Haodong looked around and found that it was very safe here. There was no need to protect Li Jiumei, so he wandered around in the temple. Qiyu was an ancient god, so he should have left something good, but he found nothing after wandering around for a long time. At this moment he saw a small box on a shrine. There were faint signs of spiritual qi fluctuations in the box. What's this? Could it be a treasure? Qin Haodong hurriedly walked over and checked it. There was no defensive formation. He reached out and opened the lid of the box. There were 2 white stones inside. After the lid was opened, they immediately emitted rich spiritual qi. Oh my God, my master Qiyu, you're so kind! Qin Haodong shouted excitedly. It turned out that there were 2 upper-level spirit stones in the box, and their quality was no worse than those in the 12 zodiac. Sure enough, in addition to the 12 zodiac, there were other upper-level spirit stones on the earth. The box that stored the spirit stones was also a good thing. There was a faint seal power on it. It was precisely because of this box that the spiritual qi of the upper-level spirit stones did not dissipate and had been preserved to this day. That's great. What he needed most now was the upper-level spirit stones, so he directly put the box and the spirit stones into the storage ring. Together with the 2 he got from the 12 zodiac, he already had 4 upper-level spirit stones. However, he needed a lot of spiritual qi to break through to the Yuanying realm. To be on the safe side, he was going to start to break through to the next realm after collecting 6 spirit stones. He looked back at Li Jiumei, who was cultivating. At this time, her aura was much stronger than before. She was breaking through the bottleneck of the supreme power realm. It seemed that there was still a period of time before she finished cultivating. He had nothing to do, so he wandered around in the temple. He really didn't know how this temple was built. It was not only magnificent but also large. He walked slowly to the back and found that there was a back door behind the temple. After opening it, there was a medicine garden. Oh my God! After seeing this medicine garden, Qin Haodong's eyeballs almost popped out of his eye sockets. He saw that there was spiritual qi lingering in it, and there were all good things. This ginseng is as thick as a child's arm. This is a 5,000-year-old blood ginseng. Oh my God, the 7-leaf Ganoderma can grow so big. It's like a pot lid. And this is the 9-leaf black ice grass. It can even produce ice flowers. Is this the soul refining grass? Qin Haodong pulled up a fiery red herb. The soul refining grass could burn the soul in the human body. Generally, it was used by evil cultivators to refine puppets. He didn't expect that it could also be found on the earth. As a Chinese medicine practitioner, when he saw these precious herbs, he had an impulse to go crazy. This medicine garden had been idle for 5,000 years. Not only there were many kinds of herbs, but no one had been here for so many years. So a random thatch pulled up was 5,000 years old, not to mention other precious herbs. This is great. With these precious medicinal ingredients, I will be able to concoct even higher grade pills and help the people around me quickly increase their cultivation. The value of these spiritual herbs was no less than that of the 2 upper-level spirit stones just now. Qin Haodong excitedly took out his tools and carefully picked them. These were all thousands of years old spiritual herbs. He did not destroy the foundation. He just picked the parts he needed and left all the roots. After a few years, this place would be full of spiritual herbs again. After picking the elixirs, Qin Haodong walked around the divine hall again. But this time he did not find anything good. However, the 2 upper-level spirit stones and countless spiritual herbs had made him very satisfied. Finally, this trip was not in vain. At this time, Li Jiumei had already improved her cultivation to the 5th level of the supreme power realm, and there was no sign of her stopping. He couldn't help sighing secretly. Qiyu was indeed an ancient mighty figure. He could help Li Jiumei improve so much with only a remnant soul left behind. He sat next to Li Jiumei and thought about what Qiyu had said from beginning to end. His heart was much heavier. With the potential enemy, the alien demon, hiding in the dark, Everything else was not important. Now the top priority was to resolve the contradictions, improve their cultivation, and unite against the foreign enemies. Otherwise, if the remnants of the alien demon really broke the space hole again, there would be no mighty figures like the Yellow Emperor and Chiyu to repair it. At that time, it would bring disaster to the whole Earth, and maybe even the human race would be extinct. When it came to resolving the contradictions, Chiyu had to admit that he was very comprehensive. He wanted the two of them to bring out the ancient secrets and resolve the hatred between the Yellow Emperor and the Jili tribe. However, Chiyu did not expect that after his death, the contradiction between the Jili tribe and the descendants of the Yellow Emperor was not prominent. What was prominent was that his wife, Yali, created a devil gate and had been against the descendants of the Yellow Emperor for thousands of years. He believed that after Li Jiumei went out, the grievances between the Jili tribe and the descendants of the Yellow Emperor would soon be resolved. The most difficult thing was how to deal with the contradictions between the Devil Gate and the Zihong Sword House. Now he was the sacred master of the Zihong Sword House, and everyone in the Zihong Sword House would definitely believe what he said and listen to his orders. But the Devil Gate was different. First of all, he had to make the current Yali believe his words. But Yali was at the Saint Realm, and he had just killed the 4 heavenly kings of the Devil Gate. He was afraid that he would be killed before he could say anything. After thinking for a long time, he finally realized that the top priority was to improve his cultivation and strengthen the strength of the people around him. Only when he was strong could he have the right to speak and persuade Yali. Otherwise, everything would be useless. He looked back and found that Li Jiumei still showed no signs of ending, so he took out the Shinong tripod and began to refine pills. He got all these herbs from Chiyu, and the Jili tribe would be an important force in the fight against the alien demons in the future. Therefore, he decided to refine some elixirs for the Jili tribe to improve their cultivation. Chapter 657. In the following period of time, Li Jiumei absorbed and refined the power of the divine soul left by Chiyu, while Qin Haodong refined elixirs beside her. Although the efficiency and quality of the elixir refining were somewhat reduced without the little fellow's help, his current cultivation had been raised to the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm, which was enough to make up for the previous gap. The most important thing was that the quality of the medicinal materials was too good. Any one of them was more than 5,000 years old, and the elixirs refined were much more effective than the previous ones. After refining enough spirit-culturing elixirs and energy-gathering elixirs, Qin Haodong tried to refine higher-level spirit elixirs and saint-breaking elixirs. In the past, he did not have the corresponding medicinal materials, and his cultivation was low, so he could not refine such high-level elixirs, but now he had the conditions. Soon, the spirit-raising elixirs were fresh out of the furnace. The effect of this elixir was similar to that of energy-gathering elixirs, but the effect was much better. A warrior at the Supreme Power Realm could improve his cultivation by 1 level. The saint-breaking elixir could double the chances of a level 9 Supreme Power Master breaking through the bottleneck of the Saint Realm. Although this kind of elixir was precious, he did not refine too many of them. After all, there were only a few level 9 Supreme Power Masters around him. 3 days later, Qin Haodong refined enough elixirs, and Li Jiumei also finished her cultivation. Her aura was countless times stronger than before. She had reached the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm. Qin Haodong said, "You're finally awake. Congratulations, you're now a level 9 Supreme Power Master." Li Jiumei said with a happy face, "Chiyu's incantation of God of War is really amazing. It's much stronger than the cultivation methods we practiced before. And his divine soul is also strong enough. Although I'm now a level 9 Supreme Power Master, I've only absorbed a small part of it. If I absorb all of it, I can at least enter the threshold of the Saint Realm." Qin Haodong said, "You can't be too hasty in your cultivation. Your original cultivation is too low. If you improve too much at once, it will easily cause your foundation to be unstable. You'd better consolidate it for a period of time before continuing to improve." Li Jiumei said, "I think so too. Now I have to go out, and tell my people about Qiyu and pass on the incantation of God of War to them. Only when my people become stronger quickly can we resist the invasion of the alien demons and fulfill Chiyu's last wish." Qin Haodong nodded. "I can help you." As they spoke, the two of them walked in the direction they came from, and soon arrived at the entrance of the forbidden area. Li Jiumei had obtained Chiyu's inheritance, which naturally included the way to open the forbidden area. She reached out and patted the cave wall beside her, and the entrance above slowly opened. Although they had stayed in the forbidden area for 3 days, Li Wangquan had been guarding the entrance of the cave with his clansmen. When they saw Qin Haodong and Li Jiumei coming out, they immediately surrounded them excitedly. Li Wangquan grabbed Li Jiumei's hand and asked nervously, "Jiumei, how is it? Did you obtain Chiyu's inheritance?" Li Jiumei nodded and said to all the clansmen, "Chiyu's spirit is in heaven. I have obtained all his inheritance. In the future, I will pass on Chiyu's tactics of God of War and other cultivation methods to our clansmen. In the future, our Jili tribe will become stronger and stronger. Hooray! Long live Qiyu! Long live the Saintess! Great! Our Jili tribe can finally rise. After so many years, we finally got it. We are the descendants of Qiyu." After hearing the news, the clansmen of the Hmong village were so excited that they burst into tears. They had been guarding here for thousands of years, and today they finally got what they wanted. After cheering, many clansmen of the Jili tribe surrounded Qin Haodong and Li Jiumei and returned to the village. When the crowd dispersed, Li Jiumei immediately asked Li Wangquan to gather dozens of core members of the Jili tribe together. Then she told them how Qiyu died and the invasion of the alien demons. After listening to her, everyone was shocked. This was completely different from the belief they had followed for thousands of years. Qiyu was not killed by the Yellow Emperor, but died in the battle with the alien demons. If it were not for the fact that Li Jiumei was the saintess of the village, and that the divine son and the saintess had just returned from the forbidden area, they would really think that he was talking nonsense. Li Jiumei said, "According to the instructions of Qiyu, our Jili tribe should improve our strength as soon as possible, and then prepare to fight with the alien demons to protect the safety of our human clan." Li Wangquan said, "Since this is the instruction of Qiyu, our Jili tribe will not hesitate. If the alien demons appear, we will fight them to the end, even if we have to fight to the last man." After he finished speaking, the other clansmen also agreed with him, and were filled with righteous indignation. As the descendants of the God of War, they naturally could not flinch in the face of the invasion of the alien demons. At this time Qin Haodong said, "Everyone, the alien demons killed the Yellow Emperor and Qiyu. It can be seen that they are powerful, so it is not enough for us to be fearless. We have to improve our ability as soon as possible." This time, Jiumei brought back the inheritance of Qiyu. "Please cultivate as soon as possible. I can help you improve quickly." Li Jiumei also said, "Haodong is right. I brought back the God of War incantation of Qiyu from the forbidden area. Now I will pass it to you. Please have a look." After that, she explained the cultivation method of the God of War incantation to everyone present. Everyone sat cross-legged on the ground and began to practice the God of War incantation, according to Li Jiumei's explanation. They were the descendants of the Jili tribe and had the blood of the God of War, so it was twice the result with half the effort to cultivate Chiyu's God of War incantation. Soon, these people mastered the God of War incantation and began to run a large circle. Then the crackling sound of breaking through was endless. These people were all elites of the Hmong village. Because of the cultivation method, their cultivation had been stagnant for many years. Now that they had obtained the God of War incantation, their previous bottlenecks were broken, and their cultivation was rapidly improved. Li Wangquan, Li Longhai and Song Ying had all reached the 9th level of covert power. After obtaining the God of War incantation, they were eager to break through. But after a long time, although they touched the bottleneck of the supreme power realm, they still could not break through. Qin Haodong stepped behind Li Wangquan, stretched out his palm, and patted his Baihui acupoint on the top of his head. Li Wangquan felt a thunderclap in his mind, and the bottleneck that had blocked him for many years was broken. Then his genuine qi surged like a river, and he instantly broke through to the supreme power realm. Then Qin Haodong took out a newly refined energy-gathering pill and stuffed it into Li Wanquan's mouth. Li Wangquan felt countless pure genuine qi rising from his dantian, and his cultivation was faintly moving towards the second level of the supreme power realm. Next, he helped Li Longhai and Song Ying to break through the bottleneck of the Guru realm. Then, he walked among the clansmen with elixirs in his hand, distributing elixirs according to everyone's cultivation level. With the pills in their mouths, these clansmen who had already broken through once began to break through again. Some people improved by 2 levels, and some people improved by 3 or 4 levels in succession. In less than half a day, these core members of the Hmong village had been reborn, and everyone's cultivation had made great progress. After finishing his cultivation, Li Wangquan came to Qin Haodong and said gratefully, "Little Qin, you are really the divine son of our Hmong village. I thank you on behalf of all the people of the Jili tribe." Behind him, the other clansmen also bowed to Qin Haodong and shouted in unison, "Thank you, divine son. Thank you, little magic doctor." Qin Haodong quickly helped Li Wangquan up and said, "Grandpa, it's nothing. Our top priority now is to improve our strength, so that we can fight against the alien demons together in the future." Then he said, "Grandpa, where are the people we caught a few days ago? Can you take me to have a look?" Li Wangquan said, "They are locked up in our village. Let's go and have a look together." These people had been locked up in the Hmong village since they were caught. These days, he had been paying attention to the forbidden area, and did not have time to interrogate them. Li Wangquan took Qin Haodong and Li Jiumei to the back mountain of the Hmong village. It was a simple prison. Generally, people in the Hmong village would be locked up here if they made a mistake. The guard here was a junior of the Li Wangquan family, named Li Debao. When he saw Li Wangquan, he hurried over. "How are those people?" Li Wangquan asked. "Chief, they are all locked up inside," Li Debao said as he opened the door. In fact, there were not many people caught inside, only 7 or 8. Many black-clothed men were killed on the spot by the angry clansmen. After all, breaking into the forbidden area was a capital crime in the eyes of the Jili tribe. If Qin Haodong had not ordered to keep them alive, these people would not have survived. Walking into the prison, Qin Haodong looked at these black-clothed men. These people were more or less injured. They had only eaten some water and gruel in the past few days and were dying. Qin Haodong came to the black-clothed leader, whose legs and arm had been cut off. He could not help but frown slightly. At this time, there was no breath in this man. It seemed that he had been dead for a long time. He bent down and pulled off the mask on the black-clothed man's face, revealing an oriental face. But his face was livid. Obviously, he had committed suicide by taking poison. Seeing that he was dead, Li Wangquan frowned and turned to Li Debao behind him and said, "What's wrong with you? Why did you kill him?" Li Debao said with a wronged expression, "I don't know. He was fine last night. How did he die today?" Qin Haodong shook his head. These Hmong people were still too simple. They had no experience in guarding against men of sacrifice, nor did they have any awareness of interrogation. Seeing that Qin Haodong was a little unhappy, Li Wangquan scolded Li Debao, "Useless thing. You can't even do such a simple thing. You're not allowed to eat tonight." Li Debao looked aggrieved and murmured, "This guy is dead. He killed so many of our clansmen. It's not a pity." Chapter 658. Li Wangquan said angrily, "How dare you talk back?" Seeing that the patriarch was really angry, Li Debao quickly shut his mouth. Qin Haodong said, "Forget it. Let's go and see the others." As he spoke, he came to a room on the side, where a lackey of the men in black was locked up. Although the man's eyes were listless, he was still alive. Obviously, he did not have the courage to commit suicide like the leader. Qin Haodong went over and pulled off the mask on his face. He also had an Asian face. He directly used mind manipulating and asked, "Are you from Huaxia or Neon?" The man said directly in Huaxia language, "I'm from Huaxia." Qin Haodong asked again, "Since you're from Huaxia, Why do you dress like a neon person? I don't know. The captain asked us to do this. Who are you? Are you soldiers? The man shook his head blankly and said, I don't know. When I was a child, I was taken to a military camp. I've been training all these years. I'm only taken out when there's a task. This time, the captain took us out to perform a task and told us to dress up as neon people. We just need to carry out the order. I don't know anything else. Chin Haodong asked, Are you a warrior? This was the question he was most concerned about. These people were obviously not warriors, but they had amazing combat power, even stronger than ordinary warriors. The man said, No, we usually do physical training and adapt to the clothes on our bodies. Only then did Chin Haodong notice the clothes the minion was wearing. He tore off his shirt and found that there was something strange inside. There were all kinds of wires and some mechanism things on it. What are these clothes? The minion said, This is the combat uniform we wear when we carry out the mission. We don't know the specific name. We only know that after wearing it, we will become extremely powerful and agile, just like Superman in the movies. Chin Haodong reached out and pulled off his pants. He threw them to Li Debao and said, Try it on. Li Debao did not understand why he was asked to wear this man's clothes, but he had to obey the order of the divine son they admired. So he obediently put on the clothes. Chin Haodong asked, How do you feel? I feel very light, Li Debao said as he moved his limbs. Chin Haodong said, Try punching me. Is this appropriate? Li Debao said with some uncertainty. Li Wangquan knew that Chin Haodong must have another purpose, so he yelled, Little bastard, just do it. How can you hurt the divine son with your little ability? Li Debao thought about it and realized that he was an ordinary person. It was impossible for him to hurt Chin Haodong, so he punched out fiercely. Even he was shocked by the punch. Not only was it powerful, but it was also much faster. In the blink of an eye, it reached Chin Haodong's face. Chin Haodong reached out and caught Li Debao's fist. It was the 5th level of covert power. Li Debao, who was originally just an ordinary person, could hit the 5th level of the covert power after putting on the clothes, which showed how powerful the clothes were. No wonder these black-clothed men couldn't feel the slightest aura of a martial artist. It turned out that these clothes were the source of their power. He turned around and asked the minion again, Where did these clothes come from? The minion shook his head blankly and said, I don't know. Every time we carry out a task, the captain will give us these combat uniforms. As for where the captain got them, I don't know. The one with the broken leg is your captain? Yes, he is our captain. He is in charge of everything. Where is your base? The minion said, We don't know either. Every time we carry out a task, we will be taken out blindfolded. When we go back, we will also be taken back blindfolded, so we don't know where the base is at all. Chin Haodong asked, What are you going to do in Hmong village this time? The minion said, Before we set off, the captain arranged this task. He asked us to kill all the people around after the forbidden area opened, and then rush into the forbidden area to grab the treasures inside. If we really can't get in, we can destroy the forbidden area. But I didn't expect that the task would be completely failed. Chin Haodong asked some more questions, but apart from these, he got nothing useful. He asked a few more black-clothed men, and the information he got was basically the same. It seemed that these minions only knew so much. The leading black-clothed man should know more information, but it was a pity that he was dead now. Since things had come to this, he could only talk about it later. He turned around and came to the captain's body. This guy's clothes were obviously more advanced than those of the others. After putting them on, he could reach the combat power of a supreme power. He took off the guy's clothes. If he found a suitable opportunity to let the professional department identify them in the future, he might be able to find clues about these people. But at this moment, he suddenly found that there was a clear tattoo on the left wrist of the corpse. The pattern was of a person kneeling on the ground and making a gesture of worship. He suddenly thought of something. He had seen such a pattern on the wrist of Davis, the president of Wilson Company. This should be the symbol of an organization, but there was still no clue about which organization it belonged to. After the interrogation, He handed all the black-clothed men over to the Hmong village, and then returned to their room with Li Jiumei. Li Jiumei was also very curious about the identity of these black-clothed men. She asked, Haodong, where do you think these black-clothed men came from? Qin Haodong said, although we didn't find out who was behind the scenes, we still got a lot of information through the interrogation just now. To be able to raise such a large number of men of sacrifice all year round, it shows that the organization behind them must have strong financial resources. To be able to have such advanced combat suits, they must have powerful scientific and technological power. The most important thing is that they actually know the secret of the forbidden area, know when it will open, and want to get the things inside. If they can't get them, they will destroy the forbidden area. This shows that they want to get the things inside, but they are afraid that your Hmong village will get them. According to so much information, can you guess who the other party is? He had just learned about the forbidden area of the Hmong village a few days ago, but the other party knew so much about it. They must be very familiar with the Hmong village. They were either friends or enemies of the Hmong village. Li Jiumei thought for a long time and finally said, our Hmong village has always been at peace with the world. Although many people know that we worship Qiyu, not many people know the secret of the forbidden area. And even we don't know what is in the forbidden area. Why are those people afraid that we will get it? I really can't figure out who the other party is. Speaking of this, she suddenly thought of something and exclaimed, is it possible that they are descendants of the alien demon? They have every reason to be afraid that we will get the inheritance of Qiyu. What you said makes sense. Qin Haodong's expression also became solemn. But I don't think these people are alien demon. Their fighting capacity is too poor. It is very likely that they are an organization founded by the alien demon. And the man with the tattoo is probably a human believer that the alien demon recruited. Speaking of this, he thought of Davis of the Wilson Pharmaceutical Company. If even the Wilson Pharmaceutical Company belonged to the organization founded by the alien demon, then they had now accumulated considerable strength. Li Jiumei said, it's a pity that that person is dead now. Li Debao is a fool. He can't even protect a person. If that person is still alive, it is very likely that he will dig out information about the alien demon. Qin Haodong said, you don't have to worry too much about this matter. I believe that the captain is also a peripheral member of the alien demon. Even if we catch him, he won't be able to get too much information. Now that we have a direction, we will definitely find more information if we pay attention to the search. But one thing is certain, the alien demon is ready to make trouble. Now the top priority is to develop our own strength. Li Jiumei nodded and said, you're right. I must make my people stronger as soon as possible. Qin Haodong stayed in the Hmong village for another day and returned to Shanghai the next day. Before leaving, he left a large number of pills to help the people of the Jili tribe improve their cultivation. Li Jiumei did not go back with him. She still had a lot of things to do in the Hmong village. The inheritance left by Qiyu was extensive and profound. There were many methods that she needed to find a suitable heir. At the same time, she had not completely absorbed Qiyu's soul. When Qin Haodong returned to Shanghai, Feng Wu was not there. Only Nailan Wushuang stayed at home. Where's Feng Wu? Where did she go? Qin Haodong was thinking about the alien demon along the way. When he returned, he wanted to tell Feng Wu about it as soon as possible. Then he asked her to tell the Zihong Sword House, so that the subordinate forces of the Zihong Sword House could prepare for the invasion of the alien demon as soon as possible. Nailan Wushuang said, she left yesterday. She said that she had something to deal with and told you not to call her. You definitely won't be able to contact her these days. What the hell is this girl doing? Qin Haodong muttered, but he could not find her. He could only wait for Feng Wu to come back. At this moment his cell phone rang. It was Yagi Yukheim. After the phone was connected, Yagi Yukheim said, Master, this business exchange meeting is completely over. I will return to Neon with my people tomorrow. Do you have any other orders? Qin Haodong said, wait for me. I'll come to you now. The existence of the alien demon gave him great pressure. Although Yagyu Yukime was a foreigner, she was absolutely loyal to him because of the master-servant contract. In order to improve the combat effectiveness of the entire human clan, he decided to help Yagyu Yukime improve her cultivation first. Yagyu Yukime did not know this. She thought that Qin Haodong just wanted to do something between adults. She said shyly, "Okay, master. I'll wait for you in the room." Chapter 659. Yagyu Yukime hung up the phone with a blush on her cheeks. In fact, the business exchange meeting had ended a few days ago. The reason why she did not leave immediately was that she was looking forward to the day when Qin Haodong would come. After waiting for a few days without any news, she took the initiative to call him today. She did not expect to get such good news immediately. Although she was extremely beautiful, she still sat in front of the mirror and carefully dressed up. After a while, the door opened and Qin Haodong came in from the outside. "Master, you're here." Yagyu Yukime was wearing a kimono and wooden clogs. She respectfully saluted Qin Haodong. Qin Haodong did not say anything. He closed the door, then picked up Yagyu Yukime and walked to the big bed in the room. Yagyu Yukime stretched out her hands and involuntarily hugged his neck. There seemed to be a fire burning in her body. Qin Haodong put her on the bed and reached out to tear off the kimono on his body. He found that it was empty inside. Her graceful figure could be seen at a glance. In an instant, the room was filled with spring. About 2 hours later, the clouds stopped and the rain stopped. Yagyu Yukime's delicate cheeks were flushed with satisfaction and a happy smile. She ran her genuine chi. When she felt her strength, her expression changed and she exclaimed, "Master, how did my cultivation improve so much? Am I already at the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm?" During the process of dual cultivation just now, she had been enjoying a rare pleasure and did not pay much attention to her own cultivation. Only then did she notice that the surging genuine chi in her body had reached the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm in just a few hours. It was no wonder that she was so shocked. In the whole Neon, there were not many people who could reach the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm. Even if there were, they were all great figures. Although dual cultivation was the best way to improve cultivation, the practitioner's cultivation had to be high enough. Half a month ago, Qin Haodong was only at the 3rd level of the Supreme Power Realm. She did not expect that he would reach the highest grade of the Supreme Power Realm so soon. Such a rapid growth rate was simply unheard of. How did he do it? That's right. You are indeed a level 9 Supreme Power Master now. After you go back this time, you have to do one thing. That is to improve the strength of your Yagyu family as soon as possible. It's not enough for you to have a high cultivation alone. You must improve the cultivation of other people as well. Qin Haodong said as he took out a small cloth bag filled with large and small jade bottles. "These are the pills I prepared for your Yagyu family. Go back and choose suitable subordinates to help them improve quickly." "Thank you, Master." Yagyu Yukime was a very smart woman. She soon realized that something was wrong and asked, "Master, is there anything that we need to do?" Qin Haodong trusted her very much, so he directly told her about the alien demons. Finally, he said, "After you go back, you should hurry to improve the strength of the Yagyu family and pay more attention to the movements of the alien demons. If you discover anyone with that special tattoo, inform me immediately. Don't act rashly." "Yes, Master. Please rest assured that the Yagyu family will definitely follow your lead," Yagyu Yukime said as she helped Qin Haodong put on his clothes. "Go back and get ready now. You must keep the matter of the alien demons a secret. Don't leak it. Also be more careful. If you encounter any special circumstances, contact me immediately." After that, Qin Haodong walked out of the room first. He left the hotel and drove to the Criminal Police Unit of the East City District. In the reception room of the Criminal Police Unit, a fat middle-aged man was sitting in the main seat. His 2 small eyes were staring at Nalan Wuxia opposite him, flashing with uncontrollable greed. Feeling the man's gaze, Nalan Wuxia's face flashed with disgust, and she said, Director Chu, welcome to our criminal police unit. Do you have any instructions? The fat middle-aged man was Chu Xiongfei, the deputy director of the Shanghai Public Security Bureau. He was also Nalan Wuxia's immediate superior. A fake smile appeared on Chu Xiongfei's face as he said, "No instructions. Captain Nalan, you're so young, and you're already the captain of the criminal police unit. You're young and promising. Director Chu, you flatter me. I'm just doing my job. It's even more commendable that you're not arrogant or rash." Chu Xiongfei's hypocrisy and lascivious eyes made Nalan Wuxia feel extremely uncomfortable. She said, "Director Chu, if you have nothing to do, you can rest here. I still have some cases to deal with." Seeing that Nalan Wuxia was going to leave him here, Chu Xiongfei's expression changed, but he soon recovered his smile. After all, she was the woman he liked. "Wuxia, work is endless. Don't tire yourself out. And if you want to make progress, don't just think about how to work. You have to pay in other aspects." He looked at Nalan Wuxia with a sinister smile and said, "Do you understand what I'm saying?" "I don't understand. As a policeman, I just want to do my job well." Seeing that Nalan Wuxia didn't understand, Chu Xiongfei's face slowly became cold and he said, "Nalan Wuxia, I'll tell you frankly. I like you. As long as you can meet my requirements, I can help you go further. It's not difficult for you to even become the deputy director. Director Chu, please behave yourself. I have a boyfriend." Nalan Wuxia's face also darkened in an instant. She didn't expect that Chu Xiongfei could say such shameless words so confidently. "Don't worry, listen to me slowly," Chu Xiongfei said. "I think you also know that I came from the capital. I came to Shanghai to gain some experience and get promoted when I go back. During this period, my wife and I have been living separately. As long as you can accompany me, I won't affect your relationship with your boyfriend, and I can help you go further and give you endless money to spend." Seeing that this guy was still going on, Nalan Wuxia said angrily, "Chu Xiongfei, I don't want to be a high-ranking official, nor do I lack money. You'd better put away your dirty thoughts." After being rejected one after another, Chu Xiongfei became completely popular. After so many years, there was no woman he couldn't get. He slapped the table and shouted arrogantly, "Nalan Wuxia, don't be so shameless. If you annoy me, even Dong Biqing can't protect you. Don't forget that I'm from the Chu family in the capital. I know that you come from the Nalan family in Jiangnan, and your family is more or less powerful. But so what? Our Chu family is the top family in the capital, and even the whole Huaxia. Your Nalan family can't compare with us." The more this guy spoke, the more arrogant and louder he became. With the Chu family behind him, he had enough confidence. Nalan Wuxia said angrily, "Chu Xiongfei, get out of here. No matter how strong the Chu family is, I don't care. Get out." Chu Xiongfei sneered and said, "Don't forget that I'm the deputy director of the Shanghai Public Security Bureau. The entire Shanghai Public Security Bureau is my territory. Once you annoy me, it's you who will get out, not me." Speaking of this, his expression eased a little. "Young man, why are you so stubborn? As long as you agree to my request, I can not only help you to have a meteoric rise in the Shanghai Public Security Bureau, but also help your Nalan family go further. Don't forget, I have the Chu family behind me." Nalan Wuxia was so angry that her eyes were full of fire. She clenched her fists and wanted to rush up and beat this guy up. But she knew that she couldn't do this. Chu Xiongfei was not only her immediate superior, but also the Chu family behind him. Maybe it would bring big trouble to the Nalan family. Chu Xiongfei's face was full of pride. It seemed that his threat was effective. The Chu family was powerful enough to make ordinary people look up to them. Is the Chu family that great? At this moment, the door of the reception room opened and Qin Haodong came in from outside. He patted the woman on the shoulder and said, "Leave it to me. Go back to the office and wait for me." Nalan Wuxia knew Qin Haodong's ability. She didn't say anything, and turned to leave the reception room. Seeing that she was about to leave, Chu Xiongfei slapped the table and shouted, "If you dare to leave, you won't be the captain in the future." Before he could finish shouting, he heard a crisp slap. A big slap landed on his face, directly throwing him to the ground. Qin Haodong glanced at Chu Xiongfei and sneered. Fat pig, you're ugly, but you're dreaming. Chu Xiongfei got up from the ground in a hurry, pointed at Qin Haodong and said angrily, Boy, who are you? Pa! Qin Haodong slapped Chu Xiongfei in the face again and said, Didn't your mother tell you not to point at people casually? It's very rude. Just now, outside the door, he had heard the conversation between the two clearly. The guy in front of him was a member of the Chu family, and his mother was also from the Chu family. In terms of blood, they might be relatives. But he did not have a good impression of the Chu family. It was the Chu family who wanted to hurt him when he was still a baby. It was the Chu family who made his mother wander outside all these years. Chu Xiongfei got up from the ground again. At this time, he regretted sending away all the people around him in order to talk to Nalan Wuxia. Now he was beaten like a dog, but he could not find anyone to help him. Boy, let me tell you, I'm the Deputy Director of the Public Security Bureau of Shanghai. You can't afford to offend me. If you beat me, there will be no place for you in Huaxia. He said very tough, but his eyes were full of fear. He no longer dared to raise his finger. Qin Haodong smiled coldly. Although he could not go too far with this guy for his mother's sake, he still had to be punished for daring to hurt his woman. He stepped forward and grabbed Chu Xiongfei. Soon, all his clothes were taken off. Not even his underwear was left. Chu Xiongfei was completely panicked and cried in horror. You, what are you doing? Qin Haodong glanced at him and said disdainfully, You're just a little toothpick. It's good enough that you're not cuckolded if you stay at home. How dare you fantasize? Then he took out his mobile phone and began to record Chu Xiongfei. Chapter 660. Seeing that Qin Haodong was going to videotape his naked body, Chu Xiongfei was completely panicked. If this kind of video was spread, it would be terrible. No, you can't do this. As he shouted, he wanted to raise his hands to protect his key parts and cover his face. But he was horrified to find that his two arms did not listen to him, and he had completely lost the ability to move. Bastard, what the hell did you do to me? Chu Xiongfei roared angrily. Don't shout, or others will misunderstand that I'm interested in you, Qin Haodong said as he put away his mobile phone and patted his swollen cheek. Behave yourself in the future, or I will let everyone in the world see your little toothpick. After that, he picked up the clothes on the ground, walked out of the reception room, and threw them all into the trash can. As for how Chu Xiongfei walked out of the reception room naked, it was not his concern. When he came to the captain's office, Nalan Wuxia was standing at the desk with a livid face. Qin Haodong held her in his arms and kissed her gently. Well, don't be angry. I've punished that fat pig for you. Nalan Wuxia asked. What did you do to him? She was also afraid that Qin Haodong would go too far. After all, Chu Xiongfei was her immediate boss. Qin Haodong told her what had happened from beginning to end and said, How about it? Did you vent your anger? That's really a bad move. Nalan Wuxia giggled for a while and then said, I did vent my anger, but it's not good for Chu Xiongfei to be locked up here like this. Anyway, this is the crime squad. Who cares? Anyway, it has nothing to do with you. Nalan Wuxia said in surprise. I'm the captain here. How can it have nothing to do with me? Soon it won't be. Qin Haodong picked up the pen on the desk, pulled a piece of paper and wrote, I quit, on it in a flamboyant style. Turning around, he handed the pen in his hand to Nalan Wuxia and said, This is your resignation letter. Sign it. Resign? Why should I resign? Nalan Wuxia glared at him and said, If I resign, will you support me? Of course I'm the one supporting you. Do you expect me to support you? Qin Haodong said, I'm going to the capital in a few days. Are you going to be a policeman there? Come with me. Are you telling the truth? Are you really willing to support me for the rest of my life? Nalan Wuxia's voice trembled a little. Qin Haodong's attitude towards her had always been ambiguous, but today he said that he would support her, which made her feel happy too suddenly. Qin Haodong smiled and said, Of course it's true. Don't you want to? I'm willing. Of course. She grabbed the pen in Qin Haodong's hand and signed her name on the resignation letter. Then she changed her uniform and walked out of the crime squad hand in hand. Darling, where are we going? Nalan Wuxiao leaned on Qin Haodong's shoulder, her face full of happiness. Today is our big day. Of course we have to go to a good place. Qin Haodong opened the door and let Nalan Wuxia get in the car. Then he drove to the seaside. He had to do the most important thing with Nalan Wuxia today, so it was not appropriate for him to go home. So he called Ma Wenjua on the way and asked him to prepare a house for him. Ma Wenjua had prepared the most beautiful seascape villa for him through some connections. It faced the sea with beautiful scenery and was far away from the hustle and bustle of the city. It was indeed a good place to meet lovers. They walked into the villa. The decoration inside was very chic, luxurious, warm and romantic. In the living room, there was a heart-to-heart pattern made of red roses, and the big bed in the bedroom was covered with beautiful rose petals. On the terrace of the villa, there was a delicate table full of sumptuous Western-style dishes and a bottle of red wine next to it. Sitting here and enjoying the delicious meal, they could not only enjoy the moist and cool sea breeze, but also see the unique seascape. Qin Haodong secretly nodded in his heart. Although Ma Wenjua was single, he was good at being romantic. He did not know that Ma Wenjua had recently read a lot of strategies to flirt with girls on the internet in order to get rid of being single as soon as possible. The decoration of the room was something he had just learned, and he wanted to test it on Qin Haodong. You haven't eaten yet, have you? Let's eat a little. Qin Haodong took Nalan Wuxia to sit at the table, picked up the wine bottle, and poured a glass of wine for both of them. Nalan Wuxia obviously enjoyed the atmosphere, and her face was full of happiness. After taking a sip of red wine, she asked, Haodong, where have you been these days? Why didn't you come to see me? They chatted while eating. Qin Haodong told her about his recent experiences in Hong Kong and Meng Village. Of course, he automatically omitted some of the situations with other women. Although Nalan Wuxia was very clear about some things, it was one thing to know, and another to say it out. After hearing the ancient secrets told by her roommate, Nalan Wuxia opened her mouth wide in surprise. I didn't expect that there would be terrible alien demons here, Qin Haodong said. This world is far from being as peaceful as it looks. It's full of danger at any time. So I want to help you improve your cultivation as soon as possible. As he spoke, he told her about the dual cultivation enlightenment. Nalan Wuxia's cheeks blushed. She did not expect Qin Haodong to have such a wonderful method. You're a bad guy. How could you think of such a way to take advantage of a girl? Qin Haodong said, It's not taking advantage of me. It must be true love. If two people can't completely trust each other and open their hearts to each other, they can't complete the double cultivation enlightenment. Nalan Wuxia lowered her head and said shyly, I can do it. I'm willing to do anything for you. Looking at the beautiful woman in front of him, Qin Haodong could no longer control himself. He stood up and set up the defense restriction in the room. Then, he picked up Nalan Wuxia and walked to the big bed covered with rose petals. Soon, the two of them were able to see each other with their naked eyes. Nalan Wuxia, who used to be valiant and heroic, was extremely shy at the moment. Not only her cheeks were like ripe apples, but even her white and tender skin was shining with a pink halo, looking extremely attractive. Wuxia, are you ready? I'm coming, Qin Haodong whispered in her ear. Wait a minute. Nalan Wuxia pushed his shoulder and whispered, Today is my first time as a woman. I don't want to mix too many things. I want to leave a pure memory. Qin Haodong asked doubtfully, What do you mean? It's your double cultivation enlightenment method. We can use it later. Now we're just... Speaking of this, she was so shy that her voice was almost inaudible. How could Qin Haodong not understand? He smiled and said, You're right. Let's do something pure. With a low moan, the two of them became one. Nalan Wuxia also completed the most important transformation in a woman's life. After a long time, Qin Haodong completed the last blow. The two of them hugged each other tightly, enjoying the warmth after sex. But at this moment, there was a cracking sound in Nalan Wuxia's body. Then, The genuine qi in her dantian instantly became extremely violent like boiling magma, rushing to her limbs like a monstrous flood. What's going on? Haodong, didn't you say that you don't need to use enlightenment method for the time being? Nalan Wuxia thought that Qin Haodong was helping her improve her cultivation. No, I didn't do it. Qin Haodong also noticed the changes in Nalan Wuxia's body. He quickly withdrew, and then glanced at her with his spirit. At this moment, the genuine qi in Bai Wuxia's body became violent, like a wild horse out of control. When he glanced at her dantian, he finally found the source. He saw a small black ball floating in Nalan Wuxia's dantian. This thing looked like a golden elixir, but it was not. The small black ball kept rotating, releasing wisps of black qi. When the black qi came out, it immediately turned into violent genuine qi, occupying the entire dantian. When he saw the small ball clearly, Qin Haodong's pupils suddenly shrank. Is this the demonic seed? When he was in the cultivation world, he had come into contact with a demonic skill called the demonic seed method. There were some cultivators who practiced demonic arts who were unwilling to die when their lives came to an end. However, their primordial spirits were not strong enough to possess someone else, so they compressed their cultivation base and divine sense into a demonic seed and secretly planted it in the body of the cauldron of their choice. The demonic seed was well hidden in the stove and was generally difficult to be discovered. When it was ripe, the demonic seed would quickly grow and be reborn in the stove. Not only could it raise the stove's cultivation to the previous level of the demonic seed, but it could also complete the possession. It could be said that this was another form of possession. In comparison, it took a longer time, usually years or even decades. However, the effect was better than a direct possession. Not only could one occupy a new body, but they could also bring back their cultivation from when they were alive. After observing again, Qin Haodong confirmed that the black ball in Nalan Wuxia's body was the demonic seed. Someone had used the demonic seed method on her. After understanding it, his expression immediately changed. He took out the silver needles from his pocket and quickly pierced them into Nalan Wuxia's mudpill palace, the Baihui acupoint on the top of her head, the Fengqi acupoint on both sides, and the temple. In the blink of an eye, 7 silver needles were pierced out. 7 needles soul fixation skill. Qin Haodong quickly locked on to Nalan Wuxia's divine treasure. This was the best way to prevent the demonic seed from possessing her. As long as it was hidden, the spirit in the demonic seed could not complete the possession. At this moment, Nalan Wuxia's momentum suddenly skyrocketed and became stronger and stronger. The cultivation in her body broke through the bottleneck one after another under the continuous release of the demonic seed's genuine essence. In the blink of an eye, she broke through to the first level of the Supreme Power Realm. Then she reached the second level of the Supreme Power Realm, the third level of the Supreme Power Realm, the fifth level of the Supreme Power Realm. In less than half an hour, she had reached the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.